Make this summer unforgettable driving in a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. Join me Friday, July 10th at 12 noon, where I will be hosting my show live from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. I'm excited to see my friend and GM Doug Wells and the entire staff. Mercedes-Benz of Edison is committed to making your shopping experience stress-free. That's one reason they were named the 2026 Mercedes-Benz Dealer of the Year by Cars.com. Visit Mercedes-Benz of Edison and meet me, Greg Kelly. See you soon.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The future of New York, the future of the country, the future of the world is me.
Well, listen, before the final whistle, if you've enjoyed this ride, it doesn't have to stop now. We've got an incredible quarterfinal round coming, some marvelous games on the way. If you've enjoyed what you're seeing, go support your local team. This doesn't have to be the last soccer you watch for the next 4 years. It's a beautiful sport. We give our lives to it for a very good reason. And we have so enjoyed the support the U.S. has received. And we are incredibly excited for the final 2 weeks of this tournament. A final 2 weeks which will not include the men of the United States. Belgium, a concern about an injury, but one of their legends scores in a third consecutive game. And they set up a quarterfinal with Spain Friday afternoon in Los Angeles.
It's going to be a hard one to stomach for this team, the coaches, the fans, everybody involved with U.S. soccer in this country. But be proud of what this team has accomplished over the last couple of weeks. Not just the wins, but how they played. The future of the sport for American soccer is very bright.
A high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey. The wars in Ukraine and Iran are also expected to be hot topics. ABC's Armando Garcia has the details.
On the eve of a high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, a deadly Russian missile attack pummeling Kyiv. The attack happening after President Trump held calls with both President Zelensky and Putin over the weekend. ABC's Selena Wang asking President Trump at the White House.
Vladimir Putin, shortly after speaking to you on July 4th, struck Kyiv and killed innocent civilians. Why isn't he feeling any pressure after speaking with you?
Well, I think he does feel pressure. He wants to end it, and Ukraine wants to end it. And we're in talks, and we'll see if we can get it ended.
President Trump is expected to meet with Zelensky as the war in Ukraine continues into its fifth year. In recent weeks, Ukraine using drones to target Russian infrastructure, including this attack on Russia's largest oil refinery.
What the Ukrainians have been doing in going after the infrastructure and knocking out much of the oil and being able to attack directly into Moscow means that they've brought the war home to the Russian people in a way that they hadn't in the past.
European allies fearful that Trump could force an end to the war in Ukraine that favors Russia. A senior Trump administration official says President Trump will also be discussing protecting shipping through the Strait of Hormuz at the summit. The president spending months slamming NATO allies for not joining the war in Iran and accusing them of not spending enough on their own defense. Overnight, Russia launched 23 ballistic missiles. None of them were intercepted by Ukraine. At the summit, President Zelensky is expected to ask for more missile interceptors.
What do you look to accomplish? I hear you're coming to visit. What do you expect to accomplish with the president?
Well, we haven't yet set a date for the visit, but I'd like to see the peace with Lebanon advance, just as we advanced together, President Trump and I, the Abraham Accords, which brought 4 peace agreements that nobody believed were possible. We brought them together. And I think that the fact that we basically hammered the Iranian regime, we've weakened it substantially, and that opens up the path for some other peace deals. That's what I'd like to advance. The other thing I'd like to say, because we're on the verge of the president's going to Turkey, look, Turkey is a great country, but it's governed by a man who calls openly for the annihilation of Israel. He occupies half of Cyprus, a NATO country. He's threatening Greece, another NATO country. And he talks openly about conquering Jerusalem. His foreign minister, his number 2, said that the Jewish state hasn't a place among humanity. Basically, it has to be wiped out. His interior minister, said he looks forward to be the governor of Jerusalem. Well, for a regime infected by the Muslim Brotherhood, an extreme movement that hates America and chants death to America from that side of the spectrum, I don't think they should be given F-35s or the engines for for their fighter jets, because that'll upset the power balance in the Middle East, which is ultimately guaranteed by Israeli air superiority and also by, I think, by America's posture in the Middle East.
Man accused of killing Charlie Kirk in court with Charlie Kirk's parents and his widow, Erika, right there, all listening as evidence was presented, some of it graphic. ABC's Kana Whitworth was in the courtroom.
Heightened security in Utah today as an armored escort whisked accused killer Tyler Robinson into a Provo courthouse guarded by SWAT officers. A tactical team with long guns taking position on rooftops. The parents of Charlie Kirk and his widow Erika facing his alleged assassin for the first time at a preliminary hearing. Donald Trump Jr. seated with them.
Mr. Robinson, good morning. For the record, the court also recognizes the presence of Miss Erika Kirk. Miss Kirk, good morning.
It was an emotional day for the Kirk family, who left the courtroom during graphic testimony.
A lot of people were screaming, standing up, and starting to run in all different directions away from the center of the tent.
Prosecutors laying out their case in a mini-trial to convince a judge there's enough evidence to try Robinson for gunning down the conservative activist at his event at Utah Valley University.
It's a graphic video. Mr. Phillips was positioned towards the front of the crowd, and it does depict the moment that Mr. Kirk is shot.
Some videos so disturbing, the judge visibly flinched as he watched the moment Kirk was assassinated. Supporters of the Kirk family in the courtroom, who could only hear the audio, brought to tears. And David, when those videos played, Tyler Robinson looked away. He has not yet entered a plea, but if tried and convicted, he could face the death penalty.
Democratic leaders on Monday urged Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner to withdraw from the race after media reports detailed allegations that he forcibly had sex with a woman nearly 5 years ago. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee Chief Kristen Gillibrand said the DSCC will not invest in the Maine Senate race if Plattner remains on the ballot. Plattner denied the allegations in a video posted Monday.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
Politico first reported the allegations. CNN later reported that the woman accused Plattner of entering her home without permission and raping her while he was intoxicated. The reports prompted Maine Democratic leaders to call for his withdrawal, while several prominent Democrats, including Representative Ro Khanna and Senator Ruben Gallego, withdrew their endorsements. The race is a key target for Democrats as they seek to win control of the U.S. Senate from Republicans. Maine law allows Democrats to replace Plattner on the November ballot if he withdraws before July 13th. Republican Senator Susan Collins, whose seat is up for election, called the allegations appalling, but said it was not her role to choose the Democratic nominee.
9/11, we lost 4 guys from this house. One of them was my cousin Jimmy. My best friend. Best goddamn fireman I ever worked with. Good family man. Dedicated American, blah, 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 you know? And every day I got to drive to work. I drive through my neighborhood. I see guys, drunken assholes that I went to high school with. We're standing in the corner high, having a great time. And I got to wonder why these assholes are still walking around when Jimmy Keefe ain't. My cousin the priest says it's because it's all part of God's plan, like God's got a plan. You know what? There is a God. He's got a whole lot of explaining to do.
I told you yesterday, now that we've moved past the 250th birthday of the United States, which we celebrated on Saturday, now, for me at least, I have set my sights on what's coming up in about 2 months, which is the 25-year commemoration of 9/11. And this show, Rescue Me, is a show about the FDNY. Dennis Leary plays a firefighter here in New York. It's got a great cast. I mean, an unbelievable cast. The guys out of the regulars that work inside that firehouse, unbelievable. I mean, really, so believable, so good. And I know Dennis Leary, for the most part, was a funny man during his career, but a tremendous job of serious acting in this show. And the show takes place right after 9/11. So Leary, his character, he's the lead. His firehouse loses 4 people on 9/11, including his cousin Jimmy. And he was very, very close in the show with his cousin Jimmy. So what you see throughout the show is some of the people that died in his life that were important to him, including his cousin Jimmy. He ends up seeing them in scenes during the show. So Jimmy's dead, but on the show, Dennis Leary has conversations with Jimmy and others who died along the way. That's part of the show. And it's really emotional and really good. In fact, Dean Winters, the great Dean Winters, he played Dennis Leary's brother in the show. He also was killed. He was a cop in the show, not a firefighter, but he ends up getting killed too. In fact, at one point, if you didn't see it, I'm not going to give away the whole plot, but Dennis Leary's wife in the show, his ex-wife, they're always fighting. His brother, Dean Winters, ends up with his wife. She ends up pregnant, and she has no idea if it's Dennis Leary's kid or Dean Winters' kid. A lot of very famous actresses are on the show, people like Gina Gershon, Jennifer Esposito. You've even got Susan Sarandon. Artie Lang is in the show, very funny. He plays one of the firefighter's cousins, ends up banging the firefighter's girlfriend. I mean, it's a funny show, but it's not, because it centers around 9/11 here in New York City. So what I'm saying is, if you're young and you're looking for something to watch that'll really give you a pretty good insight into what we went through in this city 25 years ago, go to Netflix. It's on Netflix. Look up Rescue Me, starring Dennis Leary, and watch it. Again, we watched every episode 20 years ago, and we're watching it again now. You ever watch that show, Noam?
Oh, it's a great show. I love that show.
Unbelievable.
I think I've seen
show.
every episode.
Us too. But, it was 22 years ago. So we've gone the last couple of nights binge watching, all the old shows. I remember some of them. Some of them I really don't. But it's worth rewatching. With 9/11, the 25-year commemoration coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you have seen it, like me and Noam, it doesn't matter. It was over 2 decades ago. Go watch it again, just so it's really, really new in your mind. And if you haven't seen it, if you're young or just weren't aware of it back then, go watch Rescue Me, starring Dennis Leary on Netflix. Did you see it, Lewis, years ago?
I was aware of it. I remember when you were telling me about it. And
back on the Imus days.
Yes. And I all those actors are pretty famous.
Yes.
Dean Winters was in Oz.
He was in Oz, that's correct. Him and he had the twin brother.
That's right.
And they were both maniacs.
Yeah.
Oz had Chris Maloney, who, of course, now is a Law and Order star. The guy that won the Academy Award in that drum movie. He played the leader of the Aryan Nation. J.K. Come on. Not Salinger. His name on the show, I think, was Schellinger. On the show Oz.
Schillinger. Wow, what a scary program.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable show.
Wow.
Unbelievable
that
show.
Was great.
I just saw a movie, the guy that played Adebisi. Remember him?
Yeah.
The black guy?
Yeah.
I just saw a movie with him. Not even a movie. No, he's in Euphoria. The guy who played Adebisi in Oz was just in the last season of Euphoria with Sidney Sweeney and Jacob Elordi and all those kids. So he's a great actor. That was a great show. And yes, Dean Winters was in that.
J.K. Simmons.
Yes. And what was the name of the movie he won the Academy Award for? The drummer. Remember, he played the drummer's teacher. Was so good.
Right. It was an
amazing movie. You see that movie, Noam?
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Oh, my God, was it great. He played the drum teacher. Real son of a bitch. But then, like most movies, at the end, he shows heart, Well, I forgot the name, but he won the Academy Award. Yes, yeah. Whiplash, very good. Anyway, 9/11 is coming up about 2 months away. I told you yesterday that the NYPD pipes and drums, and I've got to thank our security guy here, Dom Alberti, what a great guy he is, and Michael Keenan who every cop knows who Michael Keenan is. Those two guys have bestowed this amazing honor on me. I'll be hosting a huge event the day after, September the 12th, at the theater at Madison Square Garden. It is hosted by the NYPD, Pipes and Drums. And all these cops are coming from all over the country. Thousands and thousands of cops. We had a venue, or they had a venue, before it wasn't big enough, so they had to move it to Madison Square Garden. Again, it's the 12th, the day after, but I'm honored to be a part of it. So I have turned my attention now to this horrendous day, which I remember like it was yesterday. We talk about it every year. We play the audio from me and Imus and Charles McCord talking about the Giants and the Broncos. I know a lot of 9/11 victims don't like that. I remember I told you before that Adam Schefter, who does all the NFL information on ESPN, he yelled at me. He married a girl whose husband was killed on 9/11, Adam Schefter, and he helped raise her child. Now they've got their own child, maybe children, I don't know. But he actually yelled at me once on radio. The NFL starts many years on 9/11, and I said, what does it mean to you? And he's like, Sid, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, for a lot of us, we try to move on. And I'm like, but wait a second. Never forget. What do you mean move on? When you move on, Adam Schefter, you know what happens? People like Mamdani get elected. Right? When you move on, people like Mamdani get elected. So I'm sorry that your wife lost her husband and, you feel close to that situation. But we don't move on. I'm sorry. I talk about it every year on 9/11, and I would hope that every New Yorker and every American shows up at some event somewhere to commemorate 25 years this year, because those poor people who just went to work that morning here in New York City or the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., or that airline, all those courageous people that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, all those people deserve to be talked about every year. Sorry, Adam Schefter, I don't think you speak for the majority. And I am already fired up, emotional, and upset about this particular 9/11 because of the mayor that runs our city. I'm already pissed off 2 months before. Well, how about that, Noam?
Yeah, well, I can say the upside of it is when you think about past 9/11 ceremonies, no doubt he's going to speak. But usually it involves, each year they have a theme, like the kids speak during the names, the naming of the name ceremony that they do every year, right? Or they have first responders or something like that. It's never politicians. And if they do get it, they get 20, 30 seconds up there and they're done.
Right.
So hopefully you won't get a lot of them. You're going to get a little of them.
Right.
But I don't think you'll get a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. There's a story that surfaced yesterday, and I guess it turned out not to be true, but it made it all the way to the New York Post. Maybe you saw this yesterday afternoon, Noam, that the very famous Katz's Deli, I've eaten there many times here in New York City, Katz's Deli, that Mamdani showed up with a bunch of these DSA, communist, anti-American, America haters at Katz's, and they ordered food. And the owner at Katz's, I forgot his name, he didn't want to serve them because the DSA communists all walked in with flags and posters, and he was like, I don't want that crap in my store. And Mamdani's like, well, you have to serve me, you got no choice. So according to the New York Post yesterday, Katz's Deli gave Mamdani his sandwich for free just to get him the hell out of there. And as soon as he left, Katz's reached out to, I guess, Jessica Tisch or somebody, and they got a restraining order to make sure that Mamdani can never go back to Katz's Deli. So I saw this story in the New York Post. I reached out to Justin Ellick. I said, you got to get me the owner of Katz's Deli. This guy's a hero. He's a hero. Mamdani can't come back. And as Ellick reached out to him, that story was gone. It was no longer in the New York Post. And when he called the restaurant, and Justin could tell you more about it later, they had no idea what he was talking about. Did you see this story?
I did. A couple people sent it to me, and it didn't ring as being true. It's not, the whole thing sounded
seemed a
like
little silly at the end.
Yeah, it did. So maybe, but the fact that the Post Post definitely published it.
That's a bad job of the New York Post.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it in the Post. I saw it somewhere else, and I was like, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah, the guy from the Queens Jewish Link sent it to me.
Oh, that's where I think...
Directly from the New York Post. He probably sent it to you, too.
Yeah, maybe that's where I saw it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So is there any Mamdani news today before we get to the real important stuff?
I mean, the only story today is that the city council is going to hold a hearing today that would increase pay by 18.2% for city council members, the mayor, city comptroller. Anybody that's got an elected title would get a raise.
They need more money? What
Well,
exactly have they done to improve this city that they deserve a raise? I mean, I got nothing against the 5 Republicans in the city council. I love them, in fact. You know, Frank Morano, Vicky Palladino, David Carr, Ina Vernikov, and Joanne Ariola. I love some more than others, specifically. Well, I'll leave the names out. But the 46 Democrats, 25 of those lunatics, they deserve a raise. The mayor of this city, who has done absolutely nothing. You want to say that freezing rents is a good thing? You're a moron. You have no idea the repercussions. This city's going to be bankrupt in no time. I mean, I was watching last night a documentary. I watch a lot of documentaries, okay? I watch Rescue Me. I watch a lot of stuff besides USA Soccer. We lost. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Belgium kicked our ass last month. They kicked our ass again last night. They're just better. We're not a great soccer team. We're not a great soccer country. That's the bottom line. It's over, okay? The Mets, they win last night. The Yankees, they win last night. Caught a little bit of each. But I was watching this documentary, and it was about the mob. And they showed Joe Colombo, who was a crime boss at one point, 1970s, at this big, big rally in New York City on some Italian Heritage Day. And they actually showed Joe Colombo being shot 3 times, twice in the head. He was murdered at this rally in New York. And the really what the show was about was Joey Gallo, because whether he was responsible for having that hit done or not, everybody in the mob and even local police and even people covering the mob all chalked it up to Joey Gallo. So Joey Gallo became a dead man walking. And I knew the Gallo family. My next-door neighbors were related. In fact, Albert Kid Blast Gallo showed up in my backyard at one of our family parties. How about that? So Joey gets blamed for the Colombo assassination, and he's a dead man walking. And eventually, I think he celebrates his birthday. Maybe he was in his 40s or 50s, I forget. Had his birthday at the Copacabana. And then when the party was over, his wife was there, his 10-year-old daughter. Everybody went home except Joey went to a place out, Lou, you know very well, Umberto's Clam House.
Oh, baby.
Remember those great Joe Beningo commercials on the fan? So he goes to Little Italy. He was on Mulberry Street almost every night. And he's sitting outside about 4:30 in the morning at Umberto's. And a guy walks in through the side entrance, through the back door, walks up behind Joey and kills him. But it wasn't about the mob stuff necessarily. What it did show you was how awful the city was during that period of the 1970s. We were broke. Every building was blown out, gutted out, blocks and blocks of businesses out of business. It looked awful. A lot of you folks are too young to remember that. Even I was a little young. I was about 10 years old. But I'm going to tell you something. Freezing rents and doing all the idiotic things this communist wants to do is going to bring us right back there. Go watch some of the documentaries about late 1970s in New York. We were broke, destitute. It looked like an old Hollywood set. Everything out of business. And that's what I saw last night, Noam. You remember those days?
Yeah, of course. And then, Mayor Giuliani came in and really cleaned everything up and changed the direction of the city in such a huge way. But until then, you remember how high the murder rate was?
It was very high.
Much higher than it is now.
And, Jessica Tisch is getting a lot of credit. She deserves it. I love Jessie. Jessie's a dear, dear friend, bottom line. I know a lot of you cops give her a hard time. You're stupid. She's great. And the murder rate is at an all-time low right now, but crime is not. That's where the misconception is, specifically on the subways, other very serious violent crimes like rape, assault, battery. They're all up in big numbers. So murders are down, shootings are down, but crime is not really down. Those are not the only 2 crimes committed in New York City. So there's a whole argument back and forth as to whether or not crime is up or down. But back then, crime was a major issue because the city was broke. And that's where we're heading. So while Jessica Tisch can celebrate today these great crime numbers, that's all going to go away. When the city goes broke and the businesses go out of business and the buildings are left by the owners to rot with broken windows and bums and criminals, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. So don't celebrate these crime numbers with Jessica Tisch for too long, because the mayor is going to destroy this city very, very quickly, and we will be back in 1977 all over again. Right there, Noam. Right there. All right. The USA loses last night. I guess we made some errors. Could account for 3 goals by Belgium. Look, they beat us 5-2 in a friendly competition right before the World Cup. That's a 3-goal win. They beat us 4-1 last night. Again, a 3-goal win. It's become pretty clear that they're a much better soccer team. They've outscored us 9-3 in 2 efforts over a 1-month period. It didn't matter whether our star player played or not. With all the hard work that President Trump and Andrew Giuliani and Howard Lutnick and all these guys put in to make sure we had our full team on the field, it didn't matter. Belgium made very, very quick work of us. So now the question is, do you guys care? In other words, Belgium moves on to take on Spain on Friday. Argentina takes on Mamdani's favorite team. It's not America. You believe that? Mamdani has not even once come out publicly like he did for the Knicks, that nonsense, and said, let's go USA. Not once. He's rooting today for Egypt to beat Argentina. That's his team, Egypt.
Wait, he said that?
Yes. We all know he's a fan of Egypt. I'm not sure he said it, but we know it. At any rate, he didn't come out once. You have any audio of Mamdani saying, let's go America?
No.
Of course not. He can't stand this country. His wife ran out of here like it was on fire to go to a radical Islam mission in Spain who hates America and hates the Jews. They're really anti-Semitic. We'll get to that later. So the question now is, we'll start with you, Lewis. Now that America is out, do you care?
I'll watch. I'll definitely watch.
Oh, you will watch?
Sure. I'll root for the Norway team. I like.
You like the Norway team?
Yes, I like them because I like to look at Vikings.
Yeah, that guy, the main scorer, has got 6 or 7 goals. Looks like a Viking. He really does. What about you, Noam? Any interest now?
I think I will, because I've watched a fair amount and enjoyed it. So I'll probably watch it all the way through.
You won't be able to avoid it. It's going to be on everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Still.
You think Trump is going to be pissed off this morning? Like, I went out of my way to make sure we got our best player back on the field, and you got your asses kicked like that? How embarrassing. You know Trump is mad, right? If I'm going to go out of my way to make sure my team is at full strength, at least go out there and play a damn good game. You know Trump is thinking that, right? Maybe not. He's busy in Turkey this morning. He's got a lot to do in Turkey. What's the big story there, Noam?
Well, we'll see. I mean, obviously the president has not been a big fan of NATO and talked about pulling out. So we'll have to see what goes on. And he has all these sideline negotiations. He's going to meet with the Ukrainian president. And then we're going to continue to, of course, watch what happens in Iran. There's this mourning period that's going on now for Ali Khamenei. And when that's done, the peace talks will pick up. So I'm sure there'll be...
Wait a second. Iran... with this whole Khomeini mourning going on,
right?
Who put red dots in the middle of the foreheads of people like my friends Ben Shapiro, Laura Loomer, President Trump yesterday. So they're assassination targets. They bombed the ships again in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday during this mourning period. So what kind of mourning period is it?
Well, I guess a very active one.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, the big question about Turkey is, with Trump there again for the annual NATO summit, are they going to get F-35 jets from America? Now, you know that Erdogan, who is a leader in Turkey, is a terrible person. When you talk about the leaders around the world that are the most dangerous, murderous people in the world, he's on that list. He's right there. Whether you talk about Putin, anytime a leader of Hamas, a guy like Sinwar, Erdogan is right there. And Bibi Netanyahu and Israel are scared to death that President Trump is going to allow access, again, for Turkey to receive F-35 fighter jets and engines for their other fighter jets. In fact, Bibi was on with my friend Brian Kilmeade on Fox News yesterday morning, And that came up in their conversation. This is Bibi with Brian Kilmeade saying, please, President Trump, no F-35s to Turkey. And if it matters, I agree, and so does Mark Levin. Louis, Netanyahu, cut number 3.
What do you look to accomplish? I hear you're coming to visit. What do you expect to accomplish with the president?
Well, we haven't yet set a date for the visit, but I'd like to see the peace with Lebanon advance, just as we advanced together, President Trump and I, the Abraham Accords, which brought 4 peace agreements that nobody believed were possible. We brought them together. And I think that the fact that we basically hammered the Iranian regime, we've weakened it substantially, and that opens up the path for some other peace deals. That's what I'd like to advance. The other thing I'd like to say, because we're on the verge of the president's going to Turkey, look, Turkey is a great country, but it's governed by a man who calls openly for the annihilation of Israel. He occupies half of Cyprus, a NATO country. He's threatening Greece, another NATO country. And he talks openly about conquering Jerusalem. His foreign minister, his number 2, said that the Jewish state hasn't a place among humanity. Basically, it has to be wiped out. His interior minister, said he looks forward to be the governor of Jerusalem. Well, for a regime infected by the Muslim Brotherhood, an extreme movement that hates America and chants death to America from that side of the spectrum, I don't think they should be given F-35s or the engines for their fighter jets, because that'll upset the power balance in the Middle East, which is ultimately guaranteed by Israeli air superiority and also by, I think, by America's posture in the Middle East.
Could not agree more. Don't do it, President Trump. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to piss off Bibi. He's going to piss me off. He's going to piss off Mark Levin. And, you know, again, I'm going to have to be critical of President Trump, which I hate doing because I love the man. I think he's the best president ever. None of that has changed, but I do find myself between the Iran conflict, the way he talks about the mayor, the way he talks about Israel, now the way he's handling Erdogan, I do find myself criticizing President Trump a lot as of late, and that probably bothers some of the real Trump sycophants. You know, you can't do that. If you love Trump, you can never do that. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. So I'm with Bibi on this, and Levin and others. Do not give Erdogan those fighter jets, and my gut tells me it's too late. President Trump is going to do it. Another conversation that's going to take place in NATO centers around this Ukraine-Russia war. That's actually getting more violent. Russia, the last couple of days, has attacked Kiev, the capital city in Ukraine, twice. Right, Noam, twice, killing 30-plus a couple days ago, 20-plus yesterday. So I don't see any decrease in the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Do you?
No, in fact, the people they've killed the last couple of days, civilians. I mean, it's not even like they're going after the Ukrainian military, which you would say, you know, fair game in war. They're killing civilians in apartment buildings.
Yeah. I mean, this is extra vicious. And, of course, Iran will come up, too, and President Trump spoke about that yesterday when he rang the opening bell from the Oval Office at the White House, which was pretty cool, talking about his Trump accounts. Here's President Trump talking about Iran. He basically said, we're going to win it one way or the other, cut number 4.
Oil is now at a level that was, I think it's even lower on a barrel basis than it was before we started. We've gotten concessions. Now, they have to hold those concessions, but there'll be no nuclear weapon. We're going to be getting the, as I call it, dust, the enriched material, nuclear dust, I call it. Seems to have taken off, but it's enriched material. We're getting it. We're getting it. I went in for one reason, very strongly, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm not looking for regime change, although this is regime change. The first regime is gone. The second regime is gone. And I think the third regime is more reasonable, but we'll find out. But we've destroyed their, as you know, completely destroyed 150. They had 159 ships. Every single ship is at the bottom of the sea. We've completely destroyed. They don't have one airplane. They don't have radar. You know, one of the reasons we kept the oil down, because a lot of people said, Kevin, and a lot of people were saying that oil could go to $300, $350 a barrel. But one of the reasons that prediction wasn't right is we were taking out on average of 10, but sometimes less, sometimes more. 3 weeks ago, we had a night, 22 ships came out of the Strait, and the famous Strait of Hormuz, nobody ever heard of, but that is some big money machine, I'll tell you what. When you look at the numbers, Michael, that makes everything look small. No, wait. And we took out so much oil that people didn't know, and it only took a month and a half. They finally found out they had no radar because their radar was destroyed. So we took them out late at night with no lights, with no nothing. And our great Navy, which did the greatest blockade anyone's ever seen, not one ship got through in 2 months. And we then freed up the blockade because we're close to maybe making a deal. I don't know. We'll make either. Look, we're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job. Okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people. We can knock down their bridges in 1 hour. We can knock out their energy supply, all of those big plants that they built, big, beautiful, modern plants. They had a lot of money.
Do it.
They don't have any money now. We haven't given them any money. But we can knock out their electricity and power generating plants in, I would say, a small part of an afternoon. Every plant will be gone. And they know that. They know that.
They don't seem to care. Do it. So the President Trump made this magnificent speech. It was great. Saturday night on July the 4th. It was really great. You look at the contrast between President Trump's speech, which could make you cry, it was so beautiful, and the mayor's speech, which could make you cry, it was so hateful. So Errol Lewis, this racist, communist, Jew-hating lover on New York One, this ridiculous poser, who for some reason New York One actually goes to as their political expert, this idiot, he goes on and on yesterday that, President Trump's speech, all it really smelled like on Saturday night was fear of losing the midterms. In fact, he brought up the midterms, I guess, twice. So Errol Lewis made the point that there wasn't a beautiful speech. The Mamdani speech was great. Errol Lewis. We have shows on this station that put him on. What are we, nuts? Errol Lewis. President Trump his speech spoke of fear of losing the midterms, while Mamdani's speech was right on the money. That's Errol Lewis. We're talking about the midterms. We got this huge race up in Maine, okay? We've got Susan Collins, Republican senator. I'm not a big fan. She's one of the 5 or 6 I could do without. But at the end of the day, she's light years better than the Nazi alleged rapist Graham Plattner. Okay, for me, she's in that Lisa Murkowski list. Mitt Romney was there. The idiot in Kentucky, that moron, thank God he's gone. She's better, but she's in that list. She's only winning by just a couple of points right now, but it looks like Graham Plattner is probably going to step aside. If you listen to his comments yesterday, while he denies this latest allegation from a lady that said he raped her, he came into her house uninvited, was drunk, and raped her. Now he's starting to say things like, well, I didn't do that, it's a lie, but I don't want to hurt the party. You know what that means, Noam, right?
He's out.
He's out. So here was Graham Plattner, Nazi Graham Plattner. Finally, some good news about a lowlife Democrat. Listen to what he had to say. It sounds to me like he's going to step away. This is cut number 9.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me.
Sure.
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
Sure.
Over the last 10 months, I've been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work.
She didn't.
Into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated, and we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation.
Shut up.
As always, thank you.
Yeah, well, you're a loser, and you're a Nazi, and you're the guy that said that American servicemen deserve to die, and you're a serviceman. I love our veterans. I love them, but you prove that not every one of them is great. You actually said American servicemen deserve to die. You're a Nazi and an alleged rapist. No one's going to miss you. But you know, while I guess Elizabeth Warren went from he's my man to now she doesn't like him anymore. Way to go, Lizzie. Way to go, Lizzie. Boy, you got some moral compass. Others, Chuck Schumer, took Chuck the putz, Chuck the schmuck a little while, but he figured it out. But you know, there's really one man, one evil, terrible man that is responsible for Graham Plattner. And it took a Democrat, the only one. I don't want to hear about common sense Democrats on this show. Save that for yours. There's only one common sense Democrat in the nation today. Only one. And his name is John Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. And he called out the guy that needs to be called out today for the rise of Graham Plattner. Here was John Fetterman yesterday, Lewis, cut number 10.
But your party was willing, your party leaders, not you, was willing to look past all these other allegations against him, from the other woman who said he grabbed her, to the tattoo, the Nazi tattoo, to all the other Reddit posts that had been dug up. So they were willing to overlook all of that because he was their star.
Yeah, I mean, I refuse to overlook that, but honestly, I would really call Bernie Sanders to apologize for pushing this kind of predator more than anyone. He helped him elect, and now apologize to the victims, especially the woman that she claimed that he raped her. So I don't know why you want to keep pushing these kinds of people. Maybe he should consider set a few out and stop pushing these kind of communists and people. And now people, you know, like P. Hustle now, he has been credibly accused of rape. And that's fairly recent, too. That was only less than 5 years ago.
Well, he said the allegations are untrue, but that he's basically reviewing his options. He's obviously going to drop out, correct?
Well, he was already a dead man walking politically. So regardless, now when the entire Democratic Party in Maine has called him to leave, and now also, as far as I know, whether it's Schumer, Gillibrand, and other leadership in the DS and other people have all called him, had to go. He's a dead man walking. I don't know why he's trying to pretend that he's not done too. Even those Pod Save America people that pushed that dirtbag, you know, and they dismissed those things in the New York Times article. Maybe they ought to apologize to the women that clearly they didn't believe, or they dismissed that. I know Democrats that have, you know, back to back endorsed and got all in on Swalwell, and were on the Plattner train as well too. So maybe stop, you know, getting on bed with absolute dirtbags, someone like Plattner.
That is the Democrat Party, folks, right there. Nice job by John Fetterman, courtesy, of course, of Laura Ingraham and Fox News. What a start, 52 minutes to get you going on this Tuesday morning with a great guest list ahead, which includes the brilliant lawyer, Fox News star Donna Rotunno. She's all over this Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk story. We'll also talk to the ambassador to Belgium, That's right. The Belgians beat us in soccer yesterday, but he's on his way to Turkey with Kimberly Guilfoyle from Greece. The amazing Bill White will be here today. Dietl, Keith Sonderling now has been nominated by President Trump to be the full-time Secretary of Labor. We'll talk to Bruce Blakeman.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I went on Saturday night, and again, the rain cut it short for me, Danielle, and Gabe. They did resume the show. We didn't stay. We went to see the Doobie Brothers at Bethel Woods. Thank you, Eric Francis. And they were great. Michael McDonald sounds great. We missed Santana. But the night before, last Friday, when we first got to the country, we didn't go to the concert, Paul Simon performed.
Right, on Friday.
Yes,
yeah.
And I believe he's 84 or 85. So my whole community, including my brother-in-law, Harry, my sister, Alana, they all went to see Paul Simon on Friday night. And they all said the same thing. The band was great. The second half of the show, Simon did all those recognizable songs he did with Art Garfunkel, and it was a lot of fun. But he sounded old and tired and not much of a voice and not very good. You know, he's 84, same age, I guess, as Paul McCartney. So when you go see acts like Paul Simon, Paul McCartney, that's what you get. You get an old guy just trying to hold on.
Look at Dylan.
Oh, Dylan's terrible in concert anyway. He's terrible. What I mean, that was one of the worst shows I've ever seen last year. Was it 2 years ago already? I forget. I saw him, Robert Plant, and Willie Nelson at the same exact venue. It's a great venue, and if you're going to go see a show anywhere in the country, no disrespect to Jones Beach, any of those other spots, there is nothing like Bethel Woods. Nothing. Talking about Jones Beach, how about my guy Bruce Blakeman? I know you saw this, Noam. Yesterday, I believe the Wicked Witch, our horrendous governor, Kathy Hochul, spoke in Nassau and Suffolk County. Bruce Blakeman is still the Nassau County executive. He's been that now for 2 consecutive terms. But, of course, he's running for governor. And as of yesterday, Bruce Blakeman has cut, I should say, Kathy Hochul's lead to just 6 points. How about that?
Yeah, I saw that, and it's only July. People don't start really paying attention until September.
Right. This guy was down by almost 30 points. 30 when this thing started. And he couldn't win. Mike Lawler had a better shot. Everybody is still in love with Elise Stefanik, who I think was cowardly. Elise Stefanik was pissed, whether it was President Trump or somebody else. She took her ball. She went home. All that great work she did for me. This is just for me. All that great work she did in Congress, attacking all those university presidents, still amazing. Still amazing. The job she did on Andrew Cuomo, still amazing. But Miss Tough Girl, Miss Stefanik, when she had to face the realization that Bruce Blakeman was in the race, she quit. And a lot of you folks still want her. Why? I have no idea. I have no idea. Bruce Blakeman is the better candidate, and he's going to win. And he's only down by 6 points, and he's going to join me later on today. Did you see, Noam, too, this another mistake by the newspapers and the news? There was a roof collapse at a BJ's in New Jersey, and they kept saying all day yesterday in Ocean County. It's not in Ocean County because I've got friends, Vic, in Monmouth County, and that's where that BJ's is. Monmouth County, not Ocean County. But either way, the whole roof came down. Did you see that?
Yeah, the video is intense. You see this like senior citizen. He's in the bakery section, which is pretty good, by the way. BJ's wholesale.
It is.
And then all of a sudden this water comes down, and you can see he's kind of running away from it. And the amazing part of the story is nobody was hurt. I mean, there were 27 people inside the store.
Nobody got hurt?
Nobody was hurt.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I assumed somebody died.
No. 2 people were trapped for a little while, but they were able to manage their way out. They put like drones up. They had dogs in there just to make sure there wasn't anybody else in the building. There wasn't. And so it was incredible because if you see that video, you're like, there's no way.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had so many issues since the weekend storms. Trees are down everywhere on train tracks, homes, cars. Now the BJ's roof collapses. New Jersey really took a beating.
Yeah, and I think the confusion that over where it was, it took place in Ocean Township was where this BJ's was.
Right, not Ocean County.
Yeah.
Monmouth County, Ocean Township.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And where has Mikey Muhammad Cheryl been? Has she been out there?
Yeah, because, you know, the issue is over since Saturday is that there's tens of thousands of people in New Jersey still don't have the power back on. Today's Tuesday.
70,000 in one neighborhood alone, I believe.
So the numbers are incredible. So she's, of course, trying to answer for these utilities and why they haven't gotten these people rewired yet.
How's she doing?
Well, the destruction was pretty bad on that Saturday storm. That storm that blew through, even though it was short, it was really intense.
Yeah.
High winds.
Kind of like you on a Saturday night.
Yes.
Short, but really intense.
That's how my wife describes me.
Yeah,
yes.
Baby, look at you.
You know what? I have some happy news I can give you.
You have happy news?
Did you see this?
I don't know.
Our buddy Frankie Morano is a dad for the second time.
Yes, I got a picture yesterday. He sent me the picture of Rachel and the baby. Everybody looks great. He was going to come on yesterday and speak about the cops and Julie Menin and all that, but he couldn't make it because he was about to have a baby, and I did get the picture from Frank. Yes, him and Rachel are now parents for the second time.
Yeah, Colette Celia Morano, weighing in at 8 pounds, born yesterday morning.
So now Carmine has a sister.
That's right.
I also spoke to Ben Shapiro yesterday. He'll be coming on the show any day now. And he also, much like Frank Morano, is waiting on his child. Again, Rachel delivered Frank's second child. Ben is still waiting. But we got Mazel Tov coming to Ben Shapiro very, very soon, too. How about that, Noam?
That's cool.
Yeah, he'll be on the show. So, yes, Mazel Tov. Great job out of you, Noam. Congratulations to our dear friend Frank Morano, now a father twice. We'll take a break when we get back. Big story yesterday. Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk's parents left the courtroom. They couldn't take it. Too graphic, too emotional, too much. First time Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk's parents faced his alleged murderer, Tyler Robinson, face to face.
This is Sid on Sports. Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. United States hopes for a deep World Cup run at home. Ended with that 4-1 loss to Belgium in Seattle last night. They were boosted by the presence of that star forward Folarin Balogun, whose one-game red card suspension was controversially lifted by FIFA. American defenders, though, were at fault in a pair of first-half goals, and goalkeeper Matt Fries's gaffe gave Belgium a third early in the second half. So USA goes home on home turf. Belgium will now play 2010 champion Spain on Friday in California for a semi-final berth chance against France or Morocco. They play their quarterfinal match come Thursday night. Round of 16 left to take care of this afternoon. Noon from Atlanta, it's Argentina and Egypt. And then at 4 p.m. it's Switzerland and Colombia. Winner of those two matches will meet each other in the quarterfinals come Saturday from Kansas City. Let's head to the Diamond in Atlanta. Luis Torrens doubled in 2 runs with 2 outs in the 10th. And the last place Mets beat the NL East leading Braves 7-6 to split the 4-game series. Up next for the Mets, they open a 3-game home set against Kansas City tonight. First pitch from Queens is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. And in Tampa, Cam Schlittler pitched 8 innings for the second time this season. Jose Caballero homered twice, and the Yankees beat the Rays 5-1 in the opener of a 4-game series. Now 3 games back of Tampa for first place in the AL East. Schlittler, who allowed a career-high 6 runs to Detroit in his last start, struck out 8, allowed 4 runs, and walked none. Up next for the Yankees, Will Warren gets a start in tonight's game 204 against the Rays. First pitch from Tampa, scheduled for 6:40 p.m. That's your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ahead of the NATO summit, which will start tomorrow, my friend Bill White, who happens to be Trump's ambassador, Belgium, of all places, they just beat us in soccer last night. Bill White this morning is in Greece with Kimberly Guilfoyle. It's about a 2-hour plane ride from Greece to Turkey. So Bill and Kimberly on their way to meet President Trump at this big NATO summit, which starts tomorrow. But before that, let's talk about what's happening here in the United States. Utah yesterday, Tyler Robinson, the alleged murderer of Charlie Kirk, in the courtroom, first time ever that Charlie's widow, Erika Kirk, and Charlie's mom and dad were in the same room, staring face to face with the alleged killer. Very emotional day, and who better to speak to than my friend Donna Rotunno, who does an amazing job covering all these big cases. She's a big-time attorney for Fox News. So with that said, Donna, welcome back. How are you, sweetheart?
Welcome for me. Thank you, Sid. I'm so happy to be welcomed by you. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Yesterday, before we get to Tyler Robinson, on the program, he made his debut, first time ever. Hall of Fame linebacker, number 54, Brian Urlacher of the Chicago Bears. He was on yesterday because he loves Trump and he loves me. Turns out now he likes he likes all my stuff on Instagram. That's how I found out he likes me. I DM'd him. I go, hey, are you following me? He goes, I love you. So I put him on the show yesterday, and I brought up you, and I said, my friend Donna Rotunno was telling me that the Bears may leave Chicago, and he said, look, I don't like J.B. Pritzker, I don't like Brandon Johnson, and that still may happen. The Bears may still leave Chicago. Is that true?
We keep trying to convince ourselves that it's not true, but I have to tell you, Sid, I don't see any other path for them. Now, granted, we can talk about the Bears organization and why the billionaire owner should put their own money into this stadium and why they should stay, and I agree with all that. But at the same time, from a business decision, you would understand why people would say, I want to get out of Chicago. So we'll see what happens. Of course, as fans, we are continuing to hold on to hope that they will stay. But I'm telling you, I don't have a great feeling about it. They're definitely not staying in the city. Will they stay in Illinois? Possibly, but I don't see any path in which they stay in the city of Chicago, which makes me incredibly sad.
Oh, my God, it makes me sad, too. I'm a Giant fan. I have no love for the Bears, but I've been to Soldier Field and the rich history. I mentioned Urlacher's in the Hall of Fame. Before him, linebackers like Mike Singletary and Dick Butkus, all those great defensive players, and that amazing 85 team that beat the Patriots and won the Super Bowl, Jim McMahon. I mean, that team can't leave. If they do leave Illinois, where are they talking about going?
They're talking about going to Indiana, right over the border. Indiana, a much more friendly business state. Indiana's trying to welcome them with open arms. Now, I'm hearing that there's some problems with the land that they're looking at in Indiana for a variety of reasons. So we'll see what happens. But this is definitely dragging on, and we're very sad if it were to come.
Oh
to
my!
fruition.
You're telling me that they could end up being the Indiana Bears?
Well, they would still call them the Chicago Bears, I think, just like the Giants and the Jets who do play in New Jersey.
Right.
So I do think that they would probably still call them the Chicago Bears, but I don't know. It will be a sad day if it happens, and just not as I think fun to say I'm going to the Bears game in Indiana on Sunday afternoon.
It makes no sense. No, it's terrible. All right, so I'll keep my eye on that. I'm actually rooting for you. I know you and your dad, Donna, you love to watch your Bears there at Soldier Field in Chicago, so hopefully the team doesn't leave. Let's get to the issue at hand, which is Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk's mom and dad in the courtroom yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this hearing, which is all week long, is all about making sure there is enough evidence to bring a murder charge to Tyler Robinson. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right. So a preliminary hearing is a probable cause standard to show that the government has enough evidence that a crime occurred and that it is possible that Mr. Robinson committed that crime. So it's a very low standard. They do not need to establish evidence as you would at a trial where the standard of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. Really, these are normally very routine. This has been very strange out in Utah, how long this is taking, this process. I mean, remember, Charlie was shot in September, and here we are now, July. And in most jurisdictions where you live, where I live, preliminary hearings or indictments happen within 30 to 60 days. So this has just been a very labored and long process. And so I'm hoping that this week this is wrapped up and we can move on to getting ready for the trial phase of this case.
And once they get to the trial, correct me if I'm wrong, but the prosecution ideally would like the death penalty for Tyler Robinson, yes?
That is correct. That is correct.
All right, so give me, yesterday was so emotional that I guess some of the testimony, there was video, was so graphic that at one point Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, and Charlie's mom and dad had to leave the courtroom. They couldn't even watch it. I know Donald Trump Jr., who was very, very, very close with Charlie, he was sitting there too. So give me the gory details, unfortunately, of what these poor people went through yesterday.
Well, you have to think about it. I mean, and they put out a statement yesterday saying that every time this case goes to court, they have to relive the awful day where Charlie was murdered. And you can absolutely understand that. You know, these courtrooms have to be technical in the sense that they have to go through what happened. And obviously part of what happened was this awful shooting. And there's a video of the shooting that, of course, was, online and many people saw. And so when they got into the actual shooting and the circumstances of that, the family got up and left. And the judge told them ahead of time that they could absolutely do that if there were points that they don't want to hear. And I'm sure it's just something that they don't want to continue to relive. And frankly, they probably don't want everyone sitting around them watching their reaction to that. So I don't blame them. This is something they live every day, whether it's happening in a courtroom or not. But I'm sure having other people watch and then be able to comment on your reaction is not something that you want to have happen.
I remember that day so well, and I was on a ferry, and I saw the video, and I said, he's dead. I mean, the amount of blood that was shooting out of his neck, and I remember, and it wasn't right of me, but I got angry with Glenn Beck because Glenn Beck was on with Megyn Kelly going on and on about how they've got blood transfusions, and he's improving, and I'm saying to myself, improving, he died right there. I'm sorry. Just like, the Savannah Guthrie's mother, okay? She's been dead since that night, since that first night. And I was like, why? And I understand they wanted to, hold out hope and did want to destroy Erika and the family. But if you watched that video, I'm sorry, there was no way anyone can survive that. Anyone.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you. I watched it. I didn't even know what I was watching. Someone sent it to me, and I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, my God. Yeah, I agree. There was no coming back from something as awful as that.
So is there any reason to believe that there's not enough evidence to try Tyler Robinson after this week?
No, not at all. There's going to be a finding of probable cause. All of this that we're going through, this process, of course, Tyler Robinson is entitled to his due process, and he is innocent until proven guilty, and his lawyers should challenge evidence. I do feel in some ways they are going overboard in terms of some of the challenges here. Some of this is legal 101. Some of the things they're objecting to are coming in no matter how many times they object and jump up and down and yell about it. I do think it's all going to be a formality in the end, and we will move on, and this case will eventually go to trial. And because it's 100 degrees here, I'm hoping that if it does go to trial, it goes to trial when the weather is a little bit more pleasant to be out here.
I know, but it gets very chilly in Utah very, very quickly, so, you'll be fine. You have any idea why Tyler Robinson has not entered a plea yet?
Yes. So it's very similar where I practice law mostly in Illinois. So normally a probable cause preliminary hearing, it has to happen before your formal charges are brought. So the charges he is facing are now technically signed complaints. And once the judge finds probable cause, then it is the information that is actually charging you. And once the probable cause happens, that's when you will enter a plea. So that's why normally in a lot of cases it happens much faster, because this process happens faster. And just so people listening understand, a finding of probable cause at a preliminary hearing is the exact thing as a true bill after an indictment. Utah does not have a grand jury process to get an indictment. If they did, my guess is this would have been an indictment. We never would have heard about this. It would have been done in 30 days, and he would have entered his plea, and we would be moving on. But Utah does not have a grand jury process.
Got it. And like you said, he's entitled to a fair trial, but he's a scumbag. He's a murderer. He's a loser. Not enough bad things can happen to this guy, this son of a bitch who murdered my friend Charlie. And it's very similar to what's going on in New York with this lowlife Luigi Mangione. And every couple of weeks I see he's back in court. He's back in court. I mean, what is going on with that case?
So right now, remember, there's two jurisdictions dealing with Mangione. You have state court, New York State Court. You have federal court in New York also. So he's facing his trials in both places. It's been very strange in the last, that case has been moving along, I think, fairly well. I think his lawyers have done a good job for him. In state court, they were able to have the charges that involve the murder terrorism tossed out, which would have made him mandatory life. And then on the federal side, they had the top charge tossed out because they argued that stalking was not a violent crime under the statute. And frankly, the way the judge read that statute, I think was correct.
And the top charge there would have been the death penalty, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we may not like that judge's decision, but it's actually legally correct. And she said it's a fraught decision. It's hard to do this. And on that end, I think they need to change the law. But beside that, so he has these two cases pending. What was very strange in the last several weeks was that the defense filed this extreme emotional distress defense, basically, and then the next day they withdrew it. So that was a little bit suspect, so nobody knows why they did that and then withdrew it. But that case is going to go to trial. The state case should go to court before the federal case, given the way New York deals with those sovereign issues. So, he's going to go to trial. The fear in that case is you get some crazy rogue juror that comes in and says, I can be fair, but we'll never convict Luigi Mangione because they agree with the ideology. And that's the fear.
Ay. Disgusting. You're amazing. One of these days we're going to do that dinner. Me, Danielle, your husband at Pomola. I know you love it there, so do I. But I do love you. I think you're great on TV. You're great here, too. Next time, come in. But what a spectacular appearance, Donna. Thank you so much.
Sid, let me say one thing really quick. I know we talk about my dad all the time. Today is his birthday. So if I could just wish my dad a happy birthday.
No way. Really?
Yes.
Is he listening right now?
If he's not listening now, he will definitely listen when it drops on the app because he always does.
What's his name?
Tony Rotunno.
Tony Rotunno. And how old is your dad today?
77 on July 7th.
77 WABC. 77. How about that? Look at all these 77s. Hey, God bless your father. I know he's a wonderful man, and he should have a wonderful enjoy his birthday today. And God bless all you guys, Donna. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sid. Have a great day.
You too. Donna Rotunno right there from Fox News, an amazing attorney, great on TV, and become a go-to guy, a girl, I should say, a go-to girl on this show for all the legal stuff. She really is terrific. We'll take a short break. We got news all over the place, including sports and traffic and weather, all that good stuff.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Really great things I've done. My dad, Harvey, who passed away 6 years ago last week, he was my coach in everything. Coached me in football for many years, Kings Bay football in Brooklyn, New York, and was my manager in baseball, North Highway Little League in Brooklyn, New York. My dad was always my coach, always. And now I'm coaching Gaby in basketball. This is our third year together. And we got a great team, Healy's Pub. You know that place, Lewis?
I know it.
Right across the street from the Rockaway Hotel. And the kid, Thomas Healy, he's our best player and a great kid. So we're off to a 2-0 start. I got a text from Bert. He runs the league. Bert and forget the other guy. I don't know. It wasn't Bugsy. It was somebody else.
It's Ernie, I think.
It may have been Ernie. That's right. Very good. And he goes, we've taken a look at they do this every year. They play a couple of games. They see what teams seem to be loaded. They see what teams seem to be in big trouble. And they start to take away players from the good teams' rosters.
What?
To put them on other teams. They want the league to be competitive, So I finally got a great team. I go 10 deep, maybe 11, with 2-0. Gaby's getting playing time. I got Thomas. I got Ronan. I got Ryan. I got Michael. I got Ty. All these great players. And I got a text from Bert a couple days ago that, hey, Sid, we hate to do this to you, but we're taking away two of your players.
No. What?
Yeah.
No.
So I say, I'm going to kill you.
No.
And I wasn't even kidding. I was being serious. I'm going to kill you. We finally got a great team. Leave it alone, dick face.
Does everybody get a trophy, too?
I mean, come on.
They're taking players away.
Yes.
They didn't take Burf, did they?
They didn't take Burf.
Thank
they
God.
won't take Burf. You're hilarious. God, I love you. Burf happens to be William, which is Gabe's buddy, so they didn't take Burf.
I'm the head
they can't
of the
split
Burf
up
fan
Gabe and
club.
Burf. I know you love Burf. Yeah.
He's out to get the newsletters. I saw it up.
Well, I saw my assistant coach, Ryan Malone, in the gym yesterday. He's Malone. I keep saying the same thing. Ryan Moran in the gym yesterday. It's a great gym. Sean Cerrone, Burn Fitness. And Ryan said they're not touching our team, so at least for now. So we have games tonight, 7 p.m. start, and tomorrow night, 8:15, the late game. And my gut tells me we'll be 4-0 by Thursday morning, and then maybe then they'll mess with my team. I don't know. But I don't know when the trade deadline is, but they got to leave my team alone. I got great kids. That's the main thing. The kids are great. Every year I got a kid or two on my team that rolls their eyes, gives me a hard time when I take them out. Not these kids. These kids are great. They root for the bench players. They're like the Knicks. And we're good. So Game 3 coming up later on tonight. And Bert, if you touch it, I will go to your house. I know you're much bigger than me, and I will kick your ass all the way up and down Rockaway. And trust me when I tell you, ask Jonathan and Shane, I can do it. All right? We'll take a break when we get back.
You know who we are, but we definitely know who you are.
Damn right. And I'm kidding because I love Bert. I love Bert. He's a terrific guy, and he does a great job with all the kids in our community. They're all great guys. Really, it's an amazing league. You know that, Louis. You've been there. And the kids love it, and the whole community shows up. Shows you how tight-knit we are, this community. And Bert does a great job. But don't touch my team, you mother effer.
Taking teams apart.
Leave it alone.
What
Exactly.
league is this?
We got a big-time team. We're going to win the whole thing.
Murph, you know what to do. Just do it, okay? Hey, listen. My wife made this great pie. Have some pie, and don't make sure you don't throw the box out. I got something.
We got a Bert and we got a Burf. We'll take a short break. When we get back, he happens to be the ambassador to Belgium.
Come on, Burf!
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
He's a brilliant, gorgeous, great man, loyal friend, and now the ambassador in Belgium. The Belgians, of course, beat us in soccer last night, so I couldn't wait to talk to the great Bill White this morning. And here he is, live from Greece. We'll get to that in just a moment. The great Bill White. Bill, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good, Sid. The Honorable Sid Rosenberg, the greatest radio talk show guy out there. Congratulations on all the success. I love you. I miss you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Bill. I'll be inducted into the National Broadcasting, New York Broadcasting Hall of Fame this October. And, I wish you could be there, you and Brian. I really do. But either way, you played such an integral part of my career, dating back to the days on the Intrepid with Imus and that whole crew. And I just heard me mention Wyatt. I've kind of got Deirdre and Wyatt back in my life, and they love you. I know you were with Deirdre just a couple of weeks ago, so all that seems to come back around, Bill?
Yes, sir. It's funny. You said Imus called me the Rear Admiral. My mother called me right after this, and she says, William, do you understand what Imus said? Doesn't he know that you're not in the military? And I said, well, Mom, yes, he does. And she said, oh, gross. And she hung the phone up. Anyway, that's Imus for you. But you, my friend, I will tell you this. You're one of the most strongest supporters of President Trump. You're fighting for him everywhere. Strongest supporter of Israel like I am. I follow your lead. There is no room, no daylight in between our thinking. And, yes, it's true that Belgium did win. But if we were going to be beat, I hate to say that, our team's a great team. It's nice to give a victory to some of our best friends. And Belgium is one of our best friends. We have a $150 billion trade relationship with Belgium. It's the headquarters of NATO. It's the capital of the EU. We're about to sign almost $1 trillion trade deal with the EU. It's passing. So this is all good news coming out of our relationship, despite what the media is trying to say, Sid. President Trump put the screws to everybody, and it's working. So, Europe sometimes doesn't like the exact way that President Trump might say something. I love it, how he says it, everything he says, because he's getting it done. If he asked them nicely to spend money on NATO, their own defense, they'd never do it. So he made them do it, and now there's $1 trillion, $1 trillion with a T, that Mark Rutte and the EU countries are able to spend on their defense because of Donald Trump. So things are great in Europe, and we're about to have the NATO summit, and the boss is flying over today.
Yeah, no, he's there already. But I want to go back to Belgium for 1 second. Then I do want to touch on the NATO summit because you mentioned Israel, and they are watching this very, very closely, and I'll tell you why, Bill. But, it got a little testy when President Trump went out of his way to make sure that our leading goal scorer played last night. Balagin, it didn't matter. They beat us easily, Belgium, 5-2 in the friendly game a month ago. Beat us easily again last night, 4-1. So they've proven Belgium they're a much better soccer team than we are. That's the bottom line. But I know that the Belgian players, for example, they were giving Donald Trump the business when they won last night. So I know you're in Greece this morning, but I have to imagine that they partied in the streets of Belgium last night because they really wanted to beat the Americans, yes?
They did. And something very nice, I spoke to my head of security for diplomatic security. I was just a little, happy and concerned because as ambassador, I'm responsible for the 800 U.S. Citizens and the 1,900 U.S. service members that live in Belgium. They're under my care and concern. There were people at the U.S. Embassy cheering, celebrating outside our embassy. So, look, the Belgian people are very nice. They are big football fans. They won fair and square. I think they're much happier that this guy who got the red card, Balogun, was playing, because if they did win and he wasn't playing, I think people would say, well, they didn't really play the U.S. team. They played part of it. So I think it all works out in the end. I don't like what people are saying, criticizing President Trump. He didn't interfere. He just asked for a review. And as president of the United States of America, he has a right to ask for that. He didn't tell them to put him back in. He said, please review it. And Johnny Infantino put out a statement that the president called him, yes, but they were already reviewing this. And you saw the results. So I think all in all, fair and square, Belgium won. Congratulations. Let's go on to the next one. By the way, the King of Belgium called me yesterday, His Majesty King Philippe, and he is now traveling to the United States to see the next game in the United States of his team, which I think is a great honor for the team and an honor for the United States to have His Majesty the King come to America. Sid, he's very grateful that the United States saved his kingdom twice, first from the Germans in one, and then from the Nazis in World War II. He's a great guy, and I'd love you to meet him. Actually, if he's in New York, we should arrange an interview.
Oh, I would love to do that. This is the great ambassador in Belgium, Bill White. I'd love to meet the king of Belgium. I really would. And they're going to take on Spain the end of the week. And I'm rooting for Belgium now because I saw a picture yesterday, Bill White, of a big rally in Spain where they had a huge sign. When I say a huge sign, Bill, I mean the sign was as big as Belgium, which said basically death to Israel. So we know, we've got, listen, I know you're high on Europe and President Trump, you're 100% right, is improving what's going on there, and they're becoming more accountable and paying more money. But the anti-Semitism factor in Europe is a disaster, and Spain may be right there at the very top of the list.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I don't want to let that go over. You're 100% right. We don't have a perfect relationship, right? But we're all humans, and we need to improve. But this is a very big problem, Sid, in Europe, and I know you're focused on this. I want you to know I'm fighting so hard here. We have a moilim. This is the rabbi that performs the bris milal, which is the circumcision in the Jewish tradition. And there is a prosecutor who's a zealous prosecutor. He's the son of a bitch. I'm after him. They don't like when I interfere with these things, but I'm not going to stop until he drops the prosecution or he releases these charges. But this man has performed safely thousands of circumcisions, and they're prosecuting him for mutilation of a child. So this is an anti-Semitic prosecution. The Belgians don't like to admit this, but that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm fighting for this a man who happens to have been born in Brooklyn. So he's a U.S. citizen, and I will not stop, Sid, I promise you, until we get him cleared of these charges, because it is anti-Semitic to prosecute a moil for doing his job that they've been doing for 3,000 years, for Christ's sake.
No, God bless you, Bill. Seriously, God bless you. I love you so much. You're such a terrific guy. You really are. And that brings me to Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. You know, again, I know you with Kimberly Guilfoyle this morning in Greece. I guess you're going to make that 2-hour flight over to Turkey. That's my assumption here, to see President Trump at the NATO summit. And Bibi has made it very, very clear to President Trump, do not give F-53s to Erdogan. So I know the president likes to keep his enemies close. I get it. Even Mamdani, it bothers the hell out of me. It really does. I've complained to Trump about that because I hate Mamdani's guts. But whether it's Putin or in this case Erdogan, who's not a good guy, in fact, he's a bad guy, ask the Greeks, ask the Israelis, Bibi does not want Trump giving Erdogan F-53s. Any opinion on that story, which is now a big story here in America?
I do trust, like with my heart and soul. You know, I've known President Trump for 35 years. You have known him for the same. It goes way back. I was 22 years old. He gave me $1 million of his own money to save the Veterans Day Parade. I've been working with him hand in glove since then. I'm 59. He's an amazing man. He loves Israel. He wants to have peace 100%. No one to bring peace to these places except Donald Trump, because it just has not happened for all these years. The UN, all the efforts, the past presidents, he's the only one. So I do trust him, Sid, emphatically and with my heart and my soul, and he will do the right thing. I think we all have to do that, and we have to have some patience to let him work these important angles so that it will have a lasting peace.
What else do you think is on the docket, Bill White, for Trump at this NATO summit? Obviously, we saw Starmer walk out a couple of weeks ago. I hope and pray that somewhere in the near future, my friend Nigel Farage takes charge there in the UK. But what do you expect will be at the very top of the list that Trump wants to get done as you join him in Turkey later on today?
Well, I think the main message, which is going to be resounding, I could just imagine, Sid, and by the way, I agree with you about Mamdani, the city that I love. He's just destroying it piece by piece. So I hope people will get straight the next time, coming from the gay guys saying that. They need to get straight, and they need to go vote in the primary. They can't let the healthcare union elect some clown like this guy in the primary, and they have to vote for someone who's a business person who will save New York, because it's going down in the toilet.
Well, let me stop you right there before you get to what you think is at the very top of the list of what Trump wants to accomplish at the NATO summit today. I've had real discussions about running. Now, look, I'm about to hopefully do a new radio deal, and I've got other deals down the road. So I'm at the point in my career, I'm going to the Hall of Fame in October. I can finally start making a lot of money, But there's a lot of people, from Bruce Blakeman, who's running for governor, to Lara Trump, the president's daughter-in-law, who really want to see me run for mayor in 2029. I even sent a text to President Trump asking him his opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, as you know, because I don't want to be in violation of the Hatch Act, just in case the FBI and the State Department and the CIA are listening.
Which they are.
Which they might be. But when I am out, Sid, I would love to talk to you about that. That's 2028. You're a great friend. You're a great patriot. You love the city so much that you live, work, and have your family in. And so we need candidates who love New York City and who are not communists and socialists. That's all I'll say, because I think that's a good way to end that. But I think
so too. Yeah.
But I love you, Sid. So
we'll talk. We'll talk in private.
Yes.
But getting back to NATO, what is at the very top of Trump's list? You think?
So importantly, and this is directly from the president himself. I don't like to interpret what he says. I like to repeat exactly what he says, because he's very clear. He's consistent. NATO has finally stood up. I'll give you an example. Belgium was at 1.1% of GDP on spending for NATO as a percentage. It has to be at 5%. They did agree. They have more than doubled their expenditures in the last 12 months, which is a miracle. This country of Belgium did not plan to double their defense budget. And because of President Trump, they did. And they're now more ready for a conflict, God forbid, if Russia were to go that way or other adversaries. Belgium is on its way to the 5%, and that's a miracle. So if he doesn't keep the pressure on, when we're doing Operation Epic Fury, you've heard him say, where was NATO when I needed to land a plane instead of refueling, which is dangerous in the air? it would have been nice to land at one of these bases, that the United States basically paid for, right? And they didn't do it. So I think he's going to be tough, as he should be. I think he's going to deliver a strong message, but he'll do it, in the Donald Trump respectful way to get them to act. Because if he asked them nicely, they would never do a damn thing. Because he has to be firm. That's the way he's getting things done. I'm so proud of him. I love the man. We've never had a better president in the history of our country.
Great.
And I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow at NATO. I think he's going to make NATO stronger, better, and more prosperous.
Final 60 seconds, a great Bill White. And I mentioned Spain earlier. They were one of those countries that did not allow us to land. Italy as well. That was a big shock. But on the way out, Bill, again, you're spending time with Brian in Belgium. You're our ambassador, but you're a New Yorker through and through, the intrepid all those years. You love the United States. I know you lived in Florida, too. I know your whole history. But you ever see yourself maybe staying in Europe, or when this ambassadorship is done, is Bill White going to be back in America the very next morning?
Aha. Oh, that's a good question, Sid. I think you and I should sit together. Yeah, you always have the best questions. You're one of the smartest guys on the radio, and one of the most good-looking. Like, if I were straight, we should talk. But in all seriousness, people have said, "Hey, Bill, you should run for office. Bill, you should be running this." This operation. I ran the $12 billion real estate investment trust. I ran the Intrepid for 20 years, took it to 1 million paid visitors, raised $2 billion for our nation's veterans and fallen heroes. So I think the future is bright for Brian and I thank God for all the blessings we have. We're very lucky. We just sold our company, which is called Ghost Energy, Ghost Protein, to Keurig for $2.5 billion. Very proud of my friends Ryan Hughes and Dan Larenko at Ghost for doing that. I'll send you a case of the Ghost Energy. I'm sure the guys listening in the studio say, please don't send Sid any caffeine. Please don't do that. But you're going to love the flavors. So I think the future is bright for you and me. Who knows? Maybe we do something fun together.
Oh, that sounds amazing. We will talk. At any rate, you're doing a tremendous job in Belgium, and have some fun with Kimberly and the president the next couple of days, a very important NATO summit. You are just one of the best people. I mean this, Bill, just one of the best people I've ever met. I couldn't love you more than I do. So thank you for hopping on from Greece this morning, and we will talk again very, very soon. Bill White, I love you. Thank you.
Love you, Sid. You have the best listeners in all of radio and all of New York. And God bless you and your team and your family. Can't wait to see you soon. God bless America.
God bless America. There he is, folks, the amazing ambassador in Belgium on his way to the NATO summit today, my dear friend Bill White.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And with an American flag on that cap. You might as well have a hood on. Because that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like.
But you say this is the best nation. The best nation for who?
Yeah, when you say it's the best nation.
When you say it's the best nation, the best nation for who? Because if we are celebrating 250 years, what are we exactly celebrating is what I want to know. And so I'm really glad that picture was taken, because that picture is how we feel walking into many rooms down the street. That picture is how we feel, and nobody will believe us. So look at that picture and understand how it feels.
And you never should be made to feel like that.
Yes.
It's wrong that this
and
woman is.
And I said this on this show many, many years ago, because this is my 10th year on the show, and I said there are times when I walk into a community and I see American flags all over the community, and I suddenly feel unsafe.
She's the worst of all, Sunny Hostin. And who does she think she's kidding? She's a black girl living in a very wealthy, all-white neighborhood. All of her neighbors, are they white supremacists, Sunny? I don't think so, because then you'd move to, I don't know, Harlem. But you don't live there, do you, Sunny? You lying sack of shizzle. The American flag makes you feel unsafe? Get out. Man, I'm so sick and tired of all these people. Seriously, man, it's enough. Anyway, everybody loves Tuesdays because Uncle Bo, the former great cop, and now Mr. New York, hops on every Tuesday morning and gives New York a little lesson. So here he is, the great Bo Dietl. Bo, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. I got a lot of stuff I'd like to get through, but most important is, Hochul, stay off Long Island. Our only savior is Bruce Blakeman. I don't care if you're an independent Democrat. This will be the savior. You know, he was saved with the $8 billion from Snaggletooth Hochul. If that ain't coming, this guy's bankrupt. Also, Bill White, my friend for a lot of years. You know what, Bill? You tell me Europe it's a disaster. England, Spain, France, Ireland, Italy, these criminal immigration, robbing and raping and beating people up. I don't know. Maybe Belgium's in good shape, but the rest of Europe is finished. Also, this thing with New York City schools, 45% of the kids can't read and write. $40 billion, everything's running around. Now Mondami's talking about releasing 700 criminals who are illegally here so ICE can't get them. Let's start from the beginning. We had a great day, July 4th. All of a sudden, this speech, I watched it. I wanted to break my TV. All of a sudden, George Washington's death, the greatest American hero of our time, he then speaks there. He used Washington's death to attack the greatest nation on earth. It's clear he's a commie trying to destroy New York City and America. All I know, it's disgraceful when this angry commie brat moves after calls to deport him for his sickening attack on America on our birthday. He flooded the media with other issues. Deport Mondami to Spain to join his ugly wife there, Ramadan, who ditched America's 250 bits for the Islamic spiritual wellness retreat. Hey, listen to me. We got a law. The feds could remove him from office under the 1954 Communist Control Act. They are communists. They put this DSA crap there because they don't want to identify as communists. There is a law on our books. No commies in this country. Let's take him out, Mr. President. How dare this communist lecture me on what it means to be an American? He's intentionally destroying New York, and he wants the rest of the country. All of a sudden, commie Mondami is attacking history. Communists has always known one thing: to take a country, you must first destroy the people's attachment to it. The fastest way to do that is to attack and erase history. History is what turns a nation into a home. It's memories, good and bad. That makes people willing to defend, sacrifice for it, and pass along. If this communist Marcus' third world was work, he wants it in here. Mondami, we're told America is exceptional because we're richer, stronger, more powerful than anyone. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed in place. No, you commie, bastard. I can't say bastard. Love America for the patriotism. Mondami, your hate America speech was all about free stuff or illegal migrants. Not one word about veterans who died and were wounded defending this great country. Commie Mondami, you violated federal law by failing to register for the Selective Service over the 7 years when you had the green card. Here's another felony. Green card holders 18 to 26 must report to Selective Service. He didn't do it. It's a violation. It's a crime. Let's take him out on that. Mondami, you left out Soros and that Sigmund scumbag. All you know is one thing. You go after Elon Musk. Elon Musk was the one that was feeding people in Africa, and with his Skylink, he was helping people all over the world. You piece of garbage. But all I know is one thing. Mondami, he displays an appalling lack of appreciation for the opportunities by this country. Let me get this straight. An immigrant whose parents fled a shithole for Americans now trashes the very system that gave his family wealth and success. This is disgusting. After becoming a U.S. citizen at just 8 years ago, a country allowed him to become the mayor of the greatest city in the world. He's lecturing multi-generation Americans what it means to be American. You don't have a clue. Where is Mondami's gratitude and respect? Enough. And then on top of it, defund the police. You just defunded the police again. These cops are working 2 shifts from Operation Sales. They went into the gang task force, and we had cops shot. You piece of garbage. All I know is one thing. The city council now raised their salary from $148,500 to $172,000. Mondami raised his salary from $258,000 to $300,000. Mondami pledged $65 million to protect gender affirming care. Who cares about that, you fool? Get more cops. The mayor's office to protect tenants. Sia Weaver, who said Ownership is white supremacy. Bullcrap. You work, you buy things, and you have success. That's what America is. And also with the cop shot in the back. The guy didn't even know, Montgomery didn't even know the poor cop's name. His name was Robert Carroll, you fool. Not Robert Carroll, you idiot. Okay, Socialist Montgomery already overseeing the loss of 64,000 private sector jobs during the period. DSA government employment, here, get these numbers, from 594,000 to 621,000, an increase of 27,000 more government employees. And I tell you what, the big majority of these DSA scumbags, since 2000, $47 billion has left New York City, Florida, Texas, North Carolina. It goes on and on. And here's one more thing, very important. He thinks he's a financial whiz. If Snaggletooth governor didn't give you that $8.8 billion, we would have been bankrupt. Now in the contract negotiations, you suck up to all these unions, Montgomery. Now they want more money. What are you going to do? You're going to give them raises. We're going to go bankrupt. I remember the 70s. I remember the garbage. I remember when we had 2,000 murders on the street. I remember the graffiti. I remember we're going right into the talk. And that's his little secret thing. That's the communist way. And what we have to do is we have to find out what is the problem. You care so much about New York, you piece of garbage. Why haven't you hired in 185 days an economic development head? Because you don't care. You want to see us going to the toilet bowl, and all you do is with that smile. And I tell you, Mondani, I am coming after you every way I can. I tell you, I may have to do some jail time. On that note, have a great day.
Oh, God. I never even jumped in once. That was literally 9 minutes of fire from the great Bo Dietl. I'm not kidding you. People on Tuesdays are like, I can't wait for Bo. And I make them wait longer now, like Bill O'Reilly on Thursdays. Bill O'Reilly now basically is a 9 a.m. interview. Bo went from 7:50 to like 8:15. It's a bigger audience. They love him. I love him. I may have to do some jail time. That's my type of guy. And let me just say this, Bo. I would have no problem sitting with you in that same jail cell if it comes to Mamdani. None. Because it's pretty clear how much I hate the guy. So that is another great segment from Bo Dietl. Always amazing on a Tuesday morning. Thank you, Bo. That wraps up, I guess, hour number 2 of this fine radio show. Still a lot more to come. He mentioned Bruce Blakeman running for governor. Bruce Blakeman is stopping by the program in about a half hour. We're also going to talk to President Trump's new labor secretary. He nominated him, I should say, as a secretary of labor, making his second appearance on Sid Friends in the morning. Keith Sonderling, plus a special guest in the 9 o'clock hour. All that still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The NATO summit is in Turkey, and Erdogan is the host, so Trump has no choice. I think they've shaken hands 6 or 7 times now. You got one TV has Erdogan on, the other television in the newsroom has Graham Plotner on, so you've got a Jew hater and a Nazi. No, but the world's in great shape. Don't worry, folks. We're doing great. Yeah, everything is just fine. A Jew hater and a Nazi. It's like an old joke, right?
And to walk into a bar.
Right, walk into a bar. You want in a third party, feel free to do it.
And the bartender says,
yeah.
Your bullets arrived.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, I had the real fortunate opportunity to have 2 great people in the studio at once. The General Inspector of the Labor Department, former Congressman and dear friend Anthony D'Esposito, and Keith Sonderling, who was the acting Secretary of Labor. And last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago when I was away, President Trump now has nominated Sonderling to be the full-time, take off the temporary, not the interim, make him the Secretary of Labor, which is a huge deal. Keith is a great guy. I love him. So congratulations, Keith Sonderling, and welcome back to Sid and Friends in the morning.
Thank you so much. I was so excited for you to hear about the news when President Trump announced it. And as you know, I have been working for the president since 2017, doing his labor policy, and now to be able to lead the Labor Department as the permanent secretary. It is the honor of my lifetime, and we're going to just continue to make sure that American workers get the first and best opportunity to get these jobs in this incredible economy that the president promised to create and has delivered on.
So where were you? What were you doing when President Trump reached out and said, okay, Keith, this one's yours?
I was in Manchester, New Hampshire. We had just finished up a full day of going around Manchester. First, we visited a community college where they were teaching students how to weld, and they actually let me put on a welding hat and try to weld myself, which, Sid, is, as you know, is something they don't teach us in Boca. But I was able to put it on. I'll send you a picture when we're off. It's on Sonderling47 on Twitter. But and then you're really just talking about all these jobs the president has created, the rebuilding American infrastructure to get people more in manufacturing. It has to happen in community college. So the Department of Labor is partnering with community colleges around the country to get these types of skills back, for shop, for HVAC, for plumbing. So I was visiting that. Then I was able to visit a manufacturer in New Hampshire that was building submarine parts. So we were just having a great day talking about the president's policies and how it's impacting areas like in New Hampshire. Then we were at the airport ready to board our flight, and the flight was delayed. So fortunately, that delay must have been sent by Hashem himself, because during that delay, the president called me and said that he was going to nominate me for the job while I was standing in the Manchester airport. So how about that for a story?
That is awesome. And it was not just Manchester. You also did Florida. You mentioned Boca Raton, but I know you were in Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg and Orlando. Our good buddy Anthony Cumia, who does the show on Sunday nights, he lives in Greenville, South Carolina. You were there too. And you also toured manufacturing facilities all across Northeast Pennsylvania. So you spent the last couple of weeks, Keith, really going around the country looking to make sure that these jobs are flourishing here in America.
Yeah, and since I saw you, I've been on the road almost every single day, and we're going around and we're seeing how President Trump's policies, we're seeing how the trillions of dollars of investments that the president has personally brought back has really impacted American workers. And we see just an excitement of everywhere we go, because these jobs are coming back, and these are jobs that were lost. Think about the manufacturing jobs, the made in America. Everyone wants American-made products, and that was just shipped overseas. So the president has brought those back. We see those historic investments. And for my job, the Department of Labor, is to make sure that not only American workers are getting these jobs, but they're skilled and trained in their local communities to get these jobs. And that's really what I was able to see. The other thing we were out doing, and we've been doing, as you know, it's been 1 year since the president's working family tax cuts has passed. So we're really seeing the benefits of that. No tax on tips. So when I go to restaurants, you see all these restaurant workers, waiters, waitresses, maitre d's, everyone's happy because they're making more money in tips because more people are spending, and they're keeping that money without having to pay tax. When I visit plants, we see more overtime happening because of the increased production. 6 months straight, the manufacturing index has increased, reversing its decline from the Biden administration, which was down every single month. So there's more overtime out there, and when they get more overtime, they're not being taxed on that as well. So we're just seeing the benefits of the working family tax cuts. We're seeing the benefits of the president's policy, and that's why it's so important for us to leave D.C., to go to these places around the country where these policies are really hitting home.
Keith Sonderling, who has recently been nominated to be the Secretary of Labor full-time. He's already done a tremendous job for President Trump the last, 9 years. Keith, yesterday, President Trump did something pretty cool. He rang the opening bell from the Oval Office in the White House. Very cool. And he was there basically to pump up Trump accounts. And we know that a lot of the Trump account stuff really speaks to the younger generation, kids like you, all across America who are parents of young children looking to make sure that their futures are steadied here in America. What are your thoughts on what you saw yesterday, the opening bell, Trump accounts from the White House?
Well, two things. One, Sid, I think you'd much rather have him come to the New York Stock Exchange to ring the bell there, because I'm sure you would go, and I'm sure if he saw you, he would make you come up and ring the bell with him.
He usually does that. You're very good, Keith. He usually calls me up on stage, and it's so silly because when I heard he was ringing the opening bell, I'll be honest with you, I sent him a text. yesterday morning. I said, you're going to be down on Wall Street. Maybe we can bump into each other this morning before you head to Turkey. So I was under the impression he was doing just that, heading to Wall Street. I had no idea he was doing it at the White House.
And they brought him a special bell. And I don't know if you saw the press conference.
I did.
It's a big gold bell. And he says, he's not sure if that's a bell going back to New York, but it's not leaving the White House. So I can assure you there is no way that bell is ever coming back to New York. It's historic. But, yeah, it was a great day ringing in Trump accounts. And this is just such an incredible program for families with young children. I signed both my kids up yesterday, 4.5 and 1.5-year-old, for their Trump accounts. But for those kids who were born from January 1st, 2025 through the president's term, through the end of 2028. The extra benefit is that they're going to get $1,000 paid for by generous donations from, obviously Michael Dell and his wife have committed to giving $1,000 to newly born kids.
Well, by the way, now that you brought them up, Michael and Susan, they're an amazing couple, are they not? Amazing.
Susan, yes. Amazing. And the fact that they're doing this just to help kids grow wealthy, the fact that they can get $1,000 invested in American companies. And that's also what's so special, is that this money that you put in and this money that is going to be put in for you if your kids qualify by generous people like Michael and Susan Dell and other very wealthy people and companies who are committed to this is going to go back into the American market. So it's going to be invested in American companies. So it's a dual win for the kids, to get that $1,000, to watch it grow over time, teach kids about financial literacy, teach kids about compound interest, but also that money is now being reinvested in the American economy in premier American companies. So if you go to your app store and you download Trump accounts, the app, you'll see how to sign up. It's very easy, but also there's a lot of financial literacy in there, teaching the basics, and it also shows you where the money is going to great American companies. So it's just a win-win. As you know, President Trump ran on making America wealthy again, and he's doing this now by building generational wealth for younger children, and no president and no administration has ever thought to do that before. And that's why, President Trump, when he promises to do something, he delivers, and this is probably one of the most unique ways to do that we've ever seen.
Let's talk about NATO for a second because, making money, the oil prices are going down now. It's this Iran war is still going on. Iran once again fired at the ships on the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, but oil prices have come down and inflation has come down. Interest rates, Warsh is relatively new in that role. We got to wait to see that. But the economy certainly has indicated that it has improved. It's improved already, even though the war is not officially over. Now he goes to NATO, of course, and he wants to make sure that Europe, pays their end of the bill, wants to make sure that all these European countries allocate 5% towards defense. And I spoke to Bill White earlier, the ambassador for Belgium. They've already done it. Many other European countries have done it as well. So when you talk about what's the ideal person to lead this country, is it a politician or a businessman? Clearly, the money-making businessman is the right guy for the job, yes?
Absolutely, and that's what he did in his first term and what he's doing in his second term. And I think the key is when you look at all these international agencies, is the president is just tired of getting ripped off. He's tired of America paying the largest share of all these organizations and other countries not paying their fair share as well. So I think that's always been a message and always something that he has when he goes over there, whether it's the NATO or whether it's the UN, he shows these other countries how much more the U.S. is paying than the other countries, and that we continue to bear the burden on this, which of course is fine, but it has to be on a level playing field, and America has to be represented properly in this. And I have no doubt he's going to deliver that strong message, including making sure that our NATO allies are on the same page he is, especially with, conflicts overseas. And I know he will deliver that message strongly. And as he did in his first term, just getting these other countries to pay up.
Secretary of Labor Keith Sonderling, one of our most impressive guys in that Trump cabinet, young guy, great guy. Hey, Keith, tell me this. Obviously, all these things are going extremely well. You just pointed out for the last 10 minutes how great things are going, but you've got a job for a reason, and that is to maybe pick something that's not going great or to advance something that's moving a little slowly. So what is it out there right now that you want to see improve?
Oh, we want to continue to see companies hire American workers. And I think that's a very big part of what we're trying to do. And as these jobs come back, the worst thing that can happen is that local Americans don't get these jobs, that companies pick foreign workers, they bring in people on these foreign visas unnecessarily when there's qualified local Americans there. So that is something we're certainly pushing, is to make sure that American companies or even foreign companies that are making these investments are only hiring their local workforce and hiring American workers who were completely left behind during the Biden administration. A lot of these workers, especially in rural communities where we're seeing a lot of these investments, they saw their jobs first shipped overseas, and then if they came back, companies were just flying in workers from overseas to take those jobs, and we're not going to put up with that information. So that's something we want to see improve. When these jobs come, that the only people who are getting them are people in their community and American workers.
I love that. So on the way out, Keith, you worked for Trump. Then you stuck around for Biden. Now you're back with Trump again. So is it fair to assume that no matter who wins in 2028, Keith Sonderling will be part of the administration?
Sid, you and I are going to go retire in Boca, okay, after this, after experience. I think we deserve to go back. You're putting in your hours in New York, and I put in my hours here since 2017. I think we just retire to the beach and play golf and hang out.
Doesn't sound horrible, I got to tell you, especially with this creep. I mean, the only way that New York stays attractive, and it's losing that every day, is if my friend Bruce Blakeman, who's on hold right now, Keith, he's on hold. He's running for governor. He's got to win. You know that.
Well, of course he does. And Bruce and I had an amazing dinner together in Long Island at this incredible Italian restaurant that Anthony brought us to. So we had a great time. And obviously, he is the guy to make sure that our home state, including mine, and your listeners remember I was born in Manhattan, gets back on the right track.
He's the guy, Anthony D'Esposito, of course, you're referring to, who is with your group, and he's now the general inspector for the Labor Department. At any rate, Keith, I couldn't think of a better guy. I'm very, very happy for you. Really, I am. I love meeting you a couple of weeks ago. I love the fact that you're back on this program today. I love it that President Trump has now nominated you for that position full-time. You deserve it. You're great. Keith Sonderling, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid. I'll be back soon.
All right, we'll see you back in New York one of these days soon. Keith Sonderling right there, recently nominated by President Trump to be the full-time Secretary of Labor. Terrific guy. We'll take a break.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Bruce talked about the issue with this state, money-wise, and placed the blame where the blame belongs. She's the governor. What's so hard to figure out, Kathy, you dumb biatch? So she's like, well, I'm tired of Bruce Blakeman blaming me. Well, whose fault do you think it is? I don't understand. You want to blame Blakeman? He's in Nassau County. He's the executive. They're doing very well there. So I'm not even sure exactly what Hochul was yelling about. But right now, she's a caged animal. She is fearful she's going to lose, and she should be. When this whole thing started, when Lawler was considering running, and Stefanik, who pussied out, and Blakeman jumped in. He was 26 points back. Well, guess what? The latest poll, wipe out 20 of those. Right now, he is right behind her. I mean, right behind her. So she is scared to death, and she should be. He made up 20. He'll make up 20 more and win by 14. So with that said, here he is. A guy that I'm proud to call a brother. Dear friend, the Nassau County executive and soon-to-be governor here in New York, the great Bruce Blakeman. Brucey, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Doing great, Sid. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy for you. That poll yesterday has you down by just 6 points. Can you explain to me, as Kathy Hochul spent time in your county and your buddy Ed Romaine's county, nobody wants her there. Nobody. Long Islanders hate Kathy Hochul, but what in God's name was she yelling at you about?
Well, she wants to blame the fact that our electric bills are 70% higher on Trump, which is completely untrue. Kathy Hochul's administration has approved over 45 rate hikes on your electric bill in the last 4 years. She has engaged in the green energy scam where she takes money out of your electric bill payments every month and invests in science projects that produce very little energy and they're very costly. She will not allow us to extract natural gas from one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world here in New York State, which would create jobs, prosperity, and bring the supply of energy way up, which would bring the prices way down. And yet she buys that same natural gas from Pennsylvania. She's the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. We still have National Guard troops in our jails because she fired 2,000 corrections officers who rightly pointed out that under her policies, the prisoners are running the prisons now, which is a situation that is untenable. And she is somebody who's raised your taxes to become the highest tax state in the United States of America. That's why people are leaving. That's why jobs are leaving in the droves. She can point the finger wherever she wants, but the lack of affordability is pointed directly at her. She is the governor. She has made it more expensive. She's allowed illegal migrants into this state. She has given them free food, free transportation, free housing, a free cell phone. That has cost the taxpayers over $8 billion in the last 4 years. And if there's a housing crisis, it's because we now have hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants taking up housing that could have been used for middle-class families. People are miserable in New York State. That's why I'm climbing in the polls. That's why she's going down. They want a governor that will make them happy again by putting New Yorkers first, creating jobs, prosperity, cutting taxes, and cutting your damn high electric bills.
I mean, that is perfect right there, Bruce Blakeman. That is exactly why you've made up 20 points. I want to review something we talked about last week. I think maybe I was dreaming because I asked you about debates because when you're on stage with her, you're going to kill her. Not literally, I understand. But you are because she has nothing to run on. Everything she's touched has been a disaster. You, on the other hand, not only have done a great job in Nassau County for 2 terms now, but you've got all the right moves. You've got real ideas how to save this state. And I think you said to me last week, there's a chance she's not going to debate you?
I have consistently, over the last 4 months, challenged her to a series of debates, and we have heard nothing back from her. I have indicated to various media outlets that I am available. So I do not believe she will get on a debate stage with me. I don't think that she wants to expose her record to the public, a record of failure, a record of misery. I don't think she wants to have to try to explain to the people of this state her unholy alliance with Zoran Mandami. So I do not expect that she will debate me, but I am available any place, anytime, anywhere.
Wow. Why isn't like Errol Lewis, that jackass at New York One, or I know he's in the bag for all the Democrats, or the New York Post? Well, I've got the Daily News. They're also in the bag. They actually rooted against us last night against Belgium. They're rooting against us. I mean, none of these outlets have reached out. I mean, New York Newsday, I know they hate you and I. Every time you're on this show, they take shots at you and I. But that is your local Long Island newspaper. None of these outlets have said a word about a potential debate. None of them?
Yeah, News 12, Spectrum, I believe NBC, CBS, and ABC have all indicated that they would be willing to host debates.
Okay, good.
I have told them I am available. Kathy Hochul has not responded to them. Look, she can't defend her record, and she doesn't want to get up on a stage and compare her report card, which is straight Fs, with mine, which are straight A's. I have the safest county in America. Niche Magazine says my county is the most desirable place to live in New York State. I haven't raised taxes a penny. In fact, I cut a $150 million tax increase. I invest in our police. I've hired close to 1,000 new law enforcement professionals. We've gotten 7 bond upgrades, 4 budget surpluses. So that's what I'm going to talk about because I can do that for New York State.
And you mentioned her unholy alliance with the mayor. This punk just completed his budget last week, $120 billion plus. And let's not forget that Kathy Hochul bailed him out gave him $8 billion. Why? She's scared to death of this guy. And I know you, Bruce, you're a great patriot, great American. Trump loves you. I love you, great American. I know you watched everybody's speech over the weekend. You had one of your own. Watching Mamdani, that speech where he actually turned Washington's desk the wrong way, sat there with 9 of the physically most repulsive and ugly people you'll ever see, holding flags, all looking miserable, as on our birthday he lectured us, Mr. Uganda, on how to build a better America. How despicable was that speech?
Well, first of all, it was a very dark speech. What should have been an uplifting day celebrating the 250th anniversary of the birthplace of freedom, liberty, and democracy. This country has created more prosperity and more wealth for more people than any nation in the history of the world. And we don't say that we don't have flaws. We don't say that our past history, we haven't done things that have been incorrect. We know that we have. We know that we are vulnerable. We know that we're human. But my God, we are the greatest nation in the world. We have created a lifestyle for people that have come from other countries, immigrants who came here, kissed the ground, wanted to be here, loved to be here. This guy comes from Uganda. Have you ever been to Uganda?
Not recently, no.
I want to go. I mean, who wants to go to Uganda?
Nobody.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go to Uganda. Anybody moving to Uganda? I don't know anybody moving to Uganda.
I don't even talk about Uganda. You know what's ironic? I did 2 weeks ago because it just so happens that Bibi Netanyahu's brother was killed in the raid at Entebbe in Uganda. And it was the 50-year anniversary of that, the same day that we celebrated 250 in the United States. Otherwise, if not for Idi Amin, I don't even bring up Uganda, ever.
Well, you know, this guy comes to a country that is third world. There's abject poverty. There's very little freedom. Nobody would say that Uganda is a beacon of light. He comes to this country. He wins election in one of the most important positions in the United States of America. Americans gave him that opportunity, and all he does is crap on America. He is disgraceful. He should be blessed that he's in this country. He should rejoice in the freedom and the liberty that's been given to him in this country and the opportunity that's been given to him in this country. And all he does is crap on America. It's disgusting. It's vile. It's disgraceful. And that's why we need to have a governor who will keep him in check, or he will ruin this city and ruin this state.
And when you win, you would take a serious look at removing him. I know you said, look, well, you don't like to do that, and he won fair and square, and a lot of folks think it was rigged, and he flew in Muslims. It's all nonsense. He won fair and square. That's the bottom line, okay? Not happy about it, like to remove the guy, but he won fair and square. But when you win, not if you win, you would take a very good look at what he's doing, and you would at least consider finding a way to remove him. Yes or no?
Well, he would have to do something egregious.
Like wake up? Like wake up in the morning?
No, he'd have to do something egregious. Listen, there are ways to control what he's doing. Look, I'm not going to let him wreck the economy of New York City. I'm not going to let him create an atmosphere of lawlessness in New York City. As governor, I will keep him in check. I don't think I'm going to have to remove him. We have tremendous power over the city government and the mayor. I think that I will be able to control the situation without that drastic measure. But here's one of the things. Kathy Hochul gave this guy $5.5 billion in the last couple of months with no strings attached, no conditions. And what does he do? Hundreds, if not thousands, of NYPD police officers have retired in the last 6 months, and he's not using the money to fill those vacancies. He is defunding the police. Little by little, he is trickling away our manpower in the NYPD. which is going to have a deleterious effect not only on New York City, primarily New York City, but Long Island and Westchester and the Hudson Valley, because this lawlessness is something that will spread like a cancer. And he's not backing the NYPD. He's not funding the NYPD. So Kathy Hochul gave him all this money. Listen, the least you could have done is said, hey, you better fill those vacancies in the NYPD with this money or I'm not giving you any more money. She didn't even do that.
Right. Well, we'll tell you this. The call I get most these days, okay, besides can I come to the Hall of Fame lunch, the call I get most is, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you reach out to Bruce or anybody with this team? I don't know, Chris Boyle, Fenton, anybody. And I really want to work on Bruce Blakeman's team. I really want to help Bruce Blakeman win this election. He's got to win. He's got to win or we dead. If I tell you, Bruce, I get that call and more than one every day, would you believe me?
I get it every day. So, yeah, of course I believe you. But go to BlakemanForNewYork.com, BlakemanForNewYork.com, volunteer, contribute. We need the money. We got to bring this campaign to the people. It's very expensive. Social media, radio, TV, streaming. We've got to pay for all that, direct mail. So please contribute whatever you can give. And here's the thing. You don't have to do it through any big structure. Get a few friends together. Make sure you register everybody to vote that you know, and make sure they get out on Election Day and vote. Create your own list of friends, people that you know, relatives, and you call them every day during early voting to make sure that they voted, and you cross them off the list if they voted. If they haven't voted, you keep pestering them till they vote, because this is going to depend a lot on turnout. And I believe that if we get the turnout, I think we're going to have a tremendous victory.
You're going to win big. I'm going to Poly Market today. I'm taking you ahead of the Dodgers. How about that?
I love it.
I mean it. I swear that you've made up 20 plus points. You're down by just 6. You're running a great campaign. Great. You're all over the state while at the same time still doing an amazing job in your second term as Nassau County executive, showing the energy your friend Trump has. Well, I'm so damn proud of you. I love you so much. And I'm very excited to see that New York Post article yesterday. Onward and forward, Bruce Blakeman. You'll be the next governor of our state. Thank you so much.
Well, God bless you, Sid. Like you said, we're brothers. I love you. You do a tremendous job, and you're a Hall of Famer, baby.
Thank you. Look who's talking. There he is, Bruce Blakeman. And he's on fire right now, folks. Again, he has cut that Kathy Hochul lead to just 6 points. So stop asking me, can Blakeman win? The answer is yes. Now, is he going to win? I don't know. I think he is. I would bet that he wins. If I had to bet one way or the other, I would bet that he wins. But to ask me, does he have a chance? Of course he does. He's down by 6. He's made up 20 points. It is no secret that Kathy Hochul is a dunce. The Wicked Witch is a dunce. She's not a good person. She's not. She's an evil witch. That's what she is. With that.
Okay, how about it? Wow.
I'm getting ready for Giant training camp.
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
Yeah! And the Eagles are done.
All right.
As Jerome from Manhattan once said on the fan, D-O-E-N, done.
All right. He was brilliant.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Where's A.J. Brown? Oh, New England.
Yes.
So who's Jalen Hurts throwing the football to?
Devontae Smith.
Uh-huh. And?
Makai Lemon.
What's that?
Yeah.
How many?
Hollywood Brown.
How many catches does Lemon have in his NFL career?
0 so far. Yep. Mm-hmm. He's a rookie guy. Well, we get over the middle, get open over the middle. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait for this season. I really can't.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You can always count on my friend Bobby Hartman with this one. I mentioned this actually at the event that I was at last Monday. Bobby says Ringo has decades of sobriety in AA. Ringo Starr.
C'est vrai.
What do you mean?
That's true in French.
Is that right? Okay.
True. C'est vrai.
Yeah. Frankie Kravitz letting me know that Sharon Stone showed her vag in Basic Instinct, not Sliver.
You didn't say Sliver.
I did say Sliver,
Did
yeah.
you?
Yeah, that was the movie she made with Billy Baldwin, that jackass. another anti-Semite who's all over me. We used to be such good friends, Billy and I. I swear to God. I remember the first time I got invited to this dinner by a guy named Rich Genovese. I still love Rich. Worked for Anheuser-Busch, still does. And they had this big event in Massapequa. And the Baldwins, they are Massapequa. It's theirs. And they had a huge event, and not long after 9/11. And I remember talking to Billy, getting friendly with Billy, and Billy started calling me down in Florida. And we talked baseball. He's a big Dodger fan. Guess he spent time in Los Angeles as an actor. I don't know. And then it all went bad because Billy, like all of his brothers outside of Steven, his daughter is Haley. She's married to Justin Bieber. And Danny doesn't care. But, Alec and Billy, they all have Trump derangement syndrome in the worst way. They've got the fatal one. Some of us will survive. Not us, but some of you will survive. They're going to die from it. That's how bad Alec and Billy have it. So now we just kill each other on Twitter. And he came at me really hard a couple of weeks ago, Billy. I wasn't addressing him. Really hard. Maybe when I was in Israel. I don't remember. I don't care. He's a dick. And now we hate each other. Absolutely. And I heard that in the movie Sliver that Stone made with Billy Baldwin.
Oh.
That Stone had a very difficult time doing sex scenes with Billy because she claims he's got chronic halitosis.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too.
He's got bad breath.
Yeah.
She didn't want to kiss him.
Oh, that's
She's like, awful. I can't kiss Baldwin. He's got bad breath.
Oh.
That's horrible, bro.
Wow. You don't want to hear about that. But it could be worse.
Oh, so happy to hear that. So happy to hear that.
Somebody's got to tell you that, too. Doesn't a producer
yes.
have to tell you?
Yes.
Oh, there's toothpaste on the set.
Yeah, but sometimes when you've got that, toothpaste, even mouthwash doesn't help because you've got rot in your gums. So you got to go to the dentist, and you may have gingivitis or some type of plaque issue.
Then you really got it.
Yeah, you got to fix it.
Oh, my God. If
it's just as easy as brushing your teeth and downing some mouthwash, and you don't do that, what a dirty bastard you are.
Well, that means you haven't been cleaning your teeth at all.
Right.
Nasty.
Nasty.
Really,
I just got a teeth cleaning last Thursday. A deep teeth cleaning. Deep one. I had to get injections.
Isn't that the only type you want?
No, you get the regular teeth cleaning.
What's the regular one?
That's coming up in 3 months.
Right.
Yeah, well, they go in and they clean out the plaque and take care of your teeth. But me, I've been a little bit, and I guess I built up too much, that you actually have to get numb because they go deep into the gums in your teeth. So I walked out an hour and a half later. I was like, whoa, that hurt a little bit. No, it's fine. And now I've got a beautiful mouth. Clean, beautiful mouth. Unlike Billy Baldwin.
Right.
Who stinks. Your mouth stinks. Your brain stinks. You stink. Billy Baldwin, you stink.
Stunk.
You stank.
Oh, you're all ready for Jackson Dart now.
Now I am ready for. I love Jackson Dart. God, I love him. I really do. When is training camp for the Giants, Justin? Do you know? Couple of weeks. It's just a month.
Yeah, I mean, all teams start within the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Let's check the Giants specific.
Do you know the Eagles by heart?
Second week, second Wednesday. No.
It's
Last
this
Wednesday.
month.
Yeah, last Wednesday of July.
Right.
I think.
They start preseason maybe in August after the Hall of Fame game.
Yes.
I don't know who plays this year in that game, but the Giants usually around the 25th or the 26th. Same thing with the Jets.
Thursday, July 23rd.
Yeah, baby. Thursday, July 23. The Giants start their march to the Super Bowl.
And the Eagles, I was correct. Wednesday, July 29th.
Oh, the week after the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they thought they don't need that much work.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't.
Yeah, right.
Just go a little brush up, that's all.
Yeah. And the Yankees had a big win yesterday. They beat the Tampa Bay Rays.
Huge. Now you just got to win 3 more, and then you're tied for first again.
They started the series 4 back.
Yep.
It's a 4-game set, to your point.
Yes.
They won the first game. So, yes, if they can sweep the next 3, they would end this series back tied for first.
Mm-hmm.
Who pitches tonight?
Will Warren.
He hasn't been very good lately.
No, he has not.
Who's on the mound for Tampa Bay? You don't even know that, do you?
No.
I don't know. I have no idea.
How would I know that?
Is this series here or down there in Florida?
Down there.
Oh, it's down there. Okay. I would go to one of these games, actually.
Yes.
Big.
Ian Seymour. You ever heard of him?
No, never.
The great
Never.
lefty.
Yeah, never heard of him, though.
Yeah, name 3 Tampa Bay Rays. There we go.
Oh, the kid, he's got like 7 home runs in his last 8 games. Caminero. What's his name?
Yeah.
He's on fire, that guy.
Junior Caminero.
He's great.
He's great.
See, I got it.
You got
And then
that?
you've also got
Cedric Mullins
Diaz.
is good for them, too, as well.
Who's that?
Cedric Mullins, the former...
the former New York Met.
And the
Yes.
former New York
He played
Met.
center field for the Mets last year.
Yes,
He
he did.
sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And America's done no more soccer, and Noam doesn't care anymore.
No.
Even though the mayor's rooting for Egypt today, that's his favorite team. He was never rooting for America, Mamdani, never. He just wants to see Egypt win. Who the hell roots for Egypt? Oh, my God, who does that? Only the mayor of New York City is rooting for Egypt. And to move on, they got to beat Messi in Argentina. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
Let's go Egypt.
Please. It does bring back great memories, though, of Steve Martin doing King Tut on SNL. And I used to like that show. Remember, you used to do that all the time? The song King Tut?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Their fans wear the Sphinx hats in the...
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Do you wear it, too?
No, but maybe Mayor Mamdani does.
How much would you pay to see Noam in one of those?
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. Well, Noam's kids love soccer.
Yeah, one of them does, yeah.
So, which one, Jeremy?
Gabe.
Gabe. So is Gabe going to be watching this event even though the Americans are done?
Oh, yeah, he's all over it.
Does he root for anybody? He just...
he was rooting for Team USA. He was at a party last
I know, but
night.
they're done. We're done.
Yeah.
So now what?
He's going to root for Egypt.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated. And we will use every tool at our disposal to do so.
He's the same guy that, as I pointed out earlier, served, and I love all our veterans. You got to be a real scumbag for me to turn my back on a veteran. You guys know that. Cops, first responders, firefighters, veterans. Nobody loves them like me. Nobody. You got to be a real lowlife. He is. He actually said out loud that some of these American servicemen, listen to the word here, deserved to die. Deserved. He said that. Hard to believe, right? He also is a Nazi. He's also now been tied to, these are all allegations, of course, but a ton of bad relationships that have resulted from everything from assault to rape. And this is a guy that Bernie Sanders has been parading around Maine as the savior. And I don't love Susan Collins, not even a little. In terms of Republicans, she's one of my least favorites. She's in the same category for me as Murkowski, as Mitt Romney was. She's better. She does vote with Trump about 95% of the time, but I don't love her, not even a little. But she's a much better human being, much, than Graham Plattner. And, of course, she agrees with me about 95% of the time. So I would expect that Mr. Platner will be stepping down. He lost everybody. Liz Warren, Pocahontas, that idiot, who once said, he's my man or my type of guy. You know exactly what she said, Noam, the exact quote?
I don't know, no.
It was something like that. My man, my type of guy, my type of man. I don't know. Now she's turned her back on him. Chuck Schumer, he's turned his back, which is, for Chuck to do that, you must be really bad. There's others. In fact, Fetterman is mad at him, too. Fetterman's, of course, he's a Republican. That's not a shock. So you would expect that I'll be stepping down any second, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, of course, that they're coming after him now because July 13th is the drop dead date that you can change out a candidate on the ballot, right? And so today's, the 7th? So that doesn't give him much time to do that. And in recent polls, he's losing to Susan Collins. He wasn't before, but most recent polls, he was down a couple points. So they're like, okay, we might as well get him out now. They weren't offended by anything else he had done. Now all of a sudden they're offended by this. And it is interesting. And they have somebody waiting or a couple people waiting in the wings that could potentially take his place.
But this is what they do, the Democrats. They're awful. I hate them. I do. They did the same thing with Eric Swalwell. When Eric Swalwell was also, I guess, some lady came out and alleged he did something to her. And he was a congressman now, a senator, excuse me. And at the same time, he was running for governor of the state of California. And the Democrats got all angry. How could he do that? He must step down now. But they did not ask him to step down from his political seat. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was way more powerful. And I think people were afraid of him. And there were rumors about him for years. So it wasn't like people didn't know what was going on.
But all they did was say, you can't run for governor. Not resign. Not step away. People like Anna Paulina Luna down in Florida, Nancy Mace in South Carolina, they're like, hey, we're going to make you step down. We're going to make a big deal out about this. And then eventually, the Democrats came around. But you knew from the very beginning it was never about the females. Never. They didn't care about them. They were nervous he was going to cost them the gubernatorial because of the ridiculous way they vote in people in that jungle primary in California. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about the women. They never do. Graham Platner, it's been out there for months. They're all behind him. Eric Swalwell, out there for years. They're all behind him. But they're the ones. You better find out what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, damn it. Shut up. Who do you think you're kidding? Stop it. Not all of us are stupid. A lot of you are. Very stupid. Very. But not all of us. I don't even claim to be the smartest guy in the room, and you can't get it by me.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Let me tell you something, folks. I know luxury cars. I've driven the German brands. I paid the prices. And then I got into a Genesis. And I said, wait a second. This is luxury. The look, the performance, the comfort, whether it's a sleek G70, I love that car, or the GV80 with that third row, these are high-end vehicles with payments that actually make sense. Go see Michael. Tell him Sid sent you. Genesis of Brooklyn. Find him at genesisofbrooklyn.com.